I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain. I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
When you play one of us, you play all of us.
Intercepted by John Callahan. Alex Carroll in the backfield for Stafford. Stafford's going to fire to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Highland Park.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Highland Park is on the precipice of their 4th state title, but first they must get past an old rival and one of the state's most powerful programs. It's the Highland Park Scots and the Denton Ryan Raiders, presented by Game On Sports. Hello everyone, I'm Miles Dunklin, joined by the coach Eric Cunningham, and shortly by the 3rd member of our team, Paige Schnorbach. Once again, we're here at the beautiful AT&T Stadium in Arlington as Highland Park finds themselves in the state semifinal for the 4th time in the last 11 years. And coach, fittingly here in the playoffs, the teams have gotten more difficult each week for Highland Park. And it was definitely the case last week as Highland Park was able to defeat a very worthy opponent in Mansfield Legacy 14-7, the final from right here at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, so up until last week, we had talked about the dominance in all 3 phases, but specifically on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. It was another dominant performance last week, but really on the defensive side that was able to carry the Highland Park Scots into this semifinal. They continue to play just stellar football on the defensive side, and it's going to take a special performance today on both sides of the ball and in the special teams game to really give the Scots a great opportunity to win this thing.
Highland Park right back here at AT&T Stadium, and that gauntlet that Highland Park has had to run through here in the playoffs got a little bit more difficult last Saturday as Denton Ryan was able to defeat Colleyville Heritage. The undefeated Ryan Raiders came into the playoffs as the number 2 ranked team in the state. They've won 27 of their last 28 games, with that only loss coming in a very competitive contest to mighty Allen. The Raiders are one of the most talented teams the Scots have played all year. We're going to take a quick moment to pause for the national anthem. Football here at AT&T Stadium, and as I was just saying, the Raiders coach, one of the most talented teams the Scots have played all year, probably have the best overall complement of athletes the Scots have seen this year, led by one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, Oklahoma State-bound Spencer Sanders.
Miles, let me throw some numbers out there to you real quick, and these numbers reflect the season that Spencer Sanders has accumulated. 4,300 total yards. 3,200 yards of that is through the air. 1,087 yards of that is on the ground. He is the team's leading rusher, obviously the team's leading passer. And, Miles, he has accounted for 56 total touchdowns. And let me put the icing on the cake on Spencer Sanders. To many grins across the fans and coaching staff's face of Denton Ryan, he is only a junior. I mean, what a talented young man, and he is really the wheel that churns this Denton Ryan team. He is an incredibly talented athlete, again, committed to play football at Oklahoma State University. I know Coach Gundy and his staff are thrilled to get him up there in 2 years. But just a young man who can do it on the ground, in the air, and can really make this offensive engine churn for Denton Ryan.
And he's not the only weapon they have. You take a look at running back Tyreke Davis. He's headed to the University of North Texas, going to stay home there in Denton. Wide receiver Gabriel Douglas headed to Texas Tech. So Highland Park, really, like I said, the best complement of players. But the Scots have seen a better receiver than Gabriel Douglas. They've seen a better running back than Tyreke Davis. But they have not seen anybody quite like Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, he's a stud. And again, these two receivers they have out on the edge, both with 70-plus catches on the year. And again, the Scots are going to have their work cut out for them today here, Miles. But let me reverse course here a little bit and tell you that Denton Ryan has not seen a defense like this Highland Park defense all year long, and they recognize that. They know that this defense by Highland Park, who's only given up 13.5 points per contest throughout the season, is just incredibly well coached. They're going to make, they're not going to blow assignments. They're going to tackle extremely well. And Denton Ryan, who has not trailed in a football game since week 3. Again, they have not trailed in the game since week 3, which, by the way, is to a Wiley East team that did beat Highland Park in the last regular season game. So that's something to keep in mind, is the fact that this team has not trailed. So if the Scots can get out to an early lead in this thing, I'm anxious to see how well Denton Ryan can react to that.
Coach, this is also a very solid defense for Denton Ryan. The point totals really remarkable for Ryan. And just have some very special players on that defense, led by big number 99, Ernest Brown. Coach, Highland Park lost the opening coin toss. They're going to get the football first. What would be a couple keys to victory for the Scots to move on to the state championship?
Well, you talked about that defense for Denton Ryan, and the key to that defense for Denton Ryan is the front seven, specifically their front four. They're going to run a 4-2-5 defense. But that front four is loaded. So the Scots have got to run the ball effectively against that front seven. They've got to control the clock and try to keep Spencer Sanders off the field. Miles, I think special teams is going to be a key in this game. Two names to keep in mind is Mateo Cordray and Michael Clark. And then, you've got to focus on the here and now. You cannot think about next week. You've got to try to channel your focus and your attention to today's game.
Back deep to return, it's Paxton Alexander across the 25-yard line. That should be fair field position for the Scots in their offense. Of course, missing a couple of their top weapons. John Stephen Jones, the signal caller, 189 for 310 this year. That's 60%. 2,840 yards, 28 touchdowns, just 7 picks. The starting running back tandem will be Paxton Alexander and Jacob Urbanzik at the receivers. It's J.T. Dooley and Jack Toohey on the outside. Parker Alexander, Hudson Wood, and Ryan Waters on the inside. And then on that offensive line, it's Thomas Shellmeyer, Gray Giddens, J.D. Beverly, Harrison Mursky, and Giffen.
That offensive line is going to have their hands full. Big number 99, Ernest Brown the fourth.
The Scots run it first play of the game. Alexander, solid gainer here. Going to set up a second down and short. And you mentioned big Ernest Brown, number 99, one of the starters on the defensive line for Ryan. And he checks in, coach, at 6'5", 245 there on the defensive end.
He looks the part. He does. He certainly looks the part as a Division I football prospect.
Headed to Northwestern as Jones throws incomplete. Was looking for Jack Toohey, his senior wideout, and a miscommunication there. So that was first down and 10 as the Scots got a good spot there on the opening run. And second down now there after the incompletion.
Certainly don't want to put any undue pressure on the young man in John Stephen Jones, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think he is a massive key to this game today. If he's able to be successful, they really, wow.
Jones going to be slung for a loss. That was Kalen Murray, defensive end number 9. That's going to put Highland Park behind the sticks here. Third down and 17 upcoming, and Jones didn't have any time.
Yeah, just a complete breakdown up front. Looked like they were going to try to run a design quarterback draw and just no time at all. Murray was able to skirt through there pretty quickly and pick up the sack.
Scots stick with the two-back set. Urbanzik and Alexander in the game. Jones has time, now escapes to his left, looking down the field. That's Hudson Wood on the catch. Hudson Wood has first down yardage and more into Denton Ryan territory. The first third down completion of the game for Highland Park, and that was a huge chain mover.
Absolutely huge. Cannot say enough great things about Hudson Wood. I mean, what a great young man, a guy that has stepped in, was not starting early in this year, and he has just continued to make big play after big play, and that was one of those plays the Scots had to have early in this football game.
First and 10 for the Scots. They put Urbanzik in motion. They want to throw it to him. That's just his second catch of the year as he takes it across midfield. That'll be a loss there for Highland Park on first down.
And that play to Hudson Wood there on third and long, that's one of those plays that you want to jot down. Is that's a huge play in this football game early on to kind of settle the nerves a little bit, pick up a huge third down, and keep that offense of Denton Ryan off the field. The Scots have got to be able to control the clock as best they can today.
The Scots have 3 receivers to the left of John Stephen Jones. Running the option here. Jones going to throw it now. Has a receiver. That's Jack Toohey down to the 31-yard line. And, Coach, there's that wrinkle. We've been anticipating that for weeks, them throwing off that option.
Absolutely love the play call right there, and you're exactly right. You noticed John Stephen had his eyes down the field pretty much the entire play. I mean, obviously you show the option look, and if the defense gives it to you, you run it. But he knew from the get-go that Denton Ryan is anxious. They were going to try to come up and make the play in the run game, and Toohey squirted free for a nice first down pickup.
The Scots stick with the 3 wide receivers to the wide side of the field as Jones is going to hand it off to Alexander on the counter, and Paxton across the 30-yard line. That'll be a modest first down gain.
That matchup I want to keep my eyes on, and so far, Brown, 99 for Denton Ryan, has pretty much been over there on the right-hand side of the line. He played tackle most of the year. Now, last week against Colleyville Heritage, they were widening him out and kind of moving him around, and he went to the defensive end position. So I'm anxious to see if they do that, to see if he and Shellmeyer will get matched up at all.
Right now, he's lining up over Harrison Mirsky at left guard as they throw left side. That's the second catch for Hudson Wood, still on his feet across the 20-yard line. That's going to be another first down pickup for Hudson Wood. Came into the game with just under 400 yards on the year, led the Scots in yards per catch. Was shut out last week, but already making his presence felt here in the first quarter.
Well, so far, John Stephen looks really, really solid. I mean, he is really stepping into his throws well, throwing pretty footballs right on the money. A great sign for the Scots if John Stephen can get himself into a rhythm early on.
Highland Park moving the ball on this opening possession against this vaunted Ryan defense. 3 receivers to the wide side again for Jones. They hand it to Alexander up the middle, and he will be dragged down right there by number 21. That's Tyreke Davis. He's one of the leaders of this Denton Ryan team, plays both ways, the starting middle linebacker and running back, and he's headed to North Texas to play tailback.
Yeah, the Scots were on to something right there. That's a tough guy to block. J.D. Beverly was matched up one-on-one. He was able to get to the second level and just wasn't able to hang on to that block long enough on Davis.
Second down and 9 here for the Scots. They have the 3 wide receivers set once again to the wide side is J.D. Beverly. Triggers it to Jones, looking to throw. Jones into the end zone for Parker Alexander, incomplete. Good coverage there on the back end by Tamar Butts, one of the best overall athletes on the team for Denton Ryan. He's also the backup running back. And that'll bring up third down and 9. The Scots do have the services of Jackson Hubbard this week. He will be handling extra points and field goals, and this is well within his range, but obviously they'd love to convert here on this game's opening series. Jones uses the hard count. Now looks over to the bench toward Schumann, Gibbs, and Weber. Jones, straight drop, steps up in the pocket, looking right. John Stephen Jones, incomplete, as he was looking for Jack Toohey there at the 9-yard line. And Coach, we have a really good angle to see the entire field up here, and there was just nobody open on the back end that time for Highland Park.
Yeah, there just wasn't anything there. John Stephen threw the football where only the Highland Park receiver was going to be able to make the play. But, you know, again, this is a positive opening drive here by Highland Park. Certainly want to see if we can convert this by Hubbard. Good to see number 33 back out there on the field. And this is the one of those keys I talked about was the special teams game. Points are going to be a premium here today.
This will be a 36-yard effort here from Jackson Hubbard out of the hold of Jack Toohey. Hubbard's kick has plenty of leg, and it is pure. The Scots take an early lead, 3-0 from one of their senior leaders, and boy, it's great to see Jackson Hubbard back out there on the field.
It is outstanding to see 33 back out there on the field, and what a great way to get himself plugged back in the opening drive in the state semifinal and have an opportunity to kick a fairly lengthy field goal, and he made that with plenty of distance, but it is great to see him back on the field. I'm telling you, Miles, that's huge in a game like this. You know, every point when you've got two defenses that are so talented, every point is certainly going to be a premium.
So Highland Park's defense will take the field first for the first time in this game as the Scots offense goes 11 plays, 54 yards on 335, cap it off with that 36-yard field goal by Jackson Hubbard. And Coach, for this Scott defense, a couple of their best players got some big news this week. Let's head down to Paige Schnorbach with more.
Thanks, Miles. We got word earlier this Turner Cox and Luke Blanton both got big news. They got offers from Army Monday night. Coach Corliss, over the last few weeks, he reviewed their most recent tape. He extended them an offer after seeing their tapes. They're both planning on taking visits soon. And I just want to say that Highland Park's developed a relationship with the Army because they have Boomer Bekich and Jack Sides, who both Cox and Blanton plan on staying with at West Point during their visit. And it's actually Luke Blanton's first D1 offer in his dream school. A couple of his friends were telling us that he can do push-ups for an hour and enjoy it.
So great stuff from Paige there. And Coach, we've been singing the praises of Luke Blanton all year. Turner Cox, already had a couple D1 offers, and certainly it's great news for Turner. No surprise there. And really, we've been saying for weeks, it's about time Luke Blanton had a D1 offer, and everybody around the program is just tickled for Luke.
Well, first of all, I'm shocked that that's his first Division I offer. And secondly, I am just beyond tickled to death for Luke Blanton and Turner Cox as well. But Turner has experienced that thrill of receiving a Division I offer. That's Luke's first. And it could not come to two better young men. What an incredible, incredible thing. I got chill bumps just listening to Paige talk about that. That is so cool and great for those young men, and I would be shocked if Luke Blanton is not playing for the Army next year.
And what a great fit for Luke. As Paige said, that's the kind of thing that he enjoys. He is a grinder, and he's really going to fit in well at the Army if that is indeed where he decides to go.
But, hey, Miles, great opening drive by the Scots. I know you may be going, well, they didn't get a touchdown out of it. They got 3 points. This is a great Denton Ryan defense. That was a very positive opening drive for Highland Park.
Mateo Cordere handling the kickoff duties as he kicks it short here to the right side, coming back left to right there. Late flag coming in.
That's going to be a face mask, I believe.
Got the ball all the way to the 35. That was number 4, Jalen Hurt. And if it is a face mask, that would be a big blow for the Scots. Let's go ahead and set that Scotty defense.
Face mask against the kicking team. 15 yards out of the end of the kick. First down.
And it starts on the defensive line. Marshall Hammock, big number 99. We just mentioned Turner Cox and Luke Blanton there on the D line as well. Scots have so much leadership in that linebacking core. Captain Matt Gamm, Captain Bennett Brock, Captain John House, and Max Holsenbeck, the other starter there at the linebacker position. In the secondary, it's George Stewart, Alex Walzell, and O'Neal Sitzer at the corner spots. James Herring and Zach Foltz at safety. As Spencer Sanders comes out for the first time today, puts a man in motion. That's Jalen Hurt. Sanders wants to throw. He's going to step up and be tackled from behind there by Turner Cox after a solid first down pickup. And Coach Sanders really has everything that you could potentially want from that quarterback position.
Yeah, incredibly athletic. But the thing that I've always noticed about him and watching him on film and looking at him today is he's very poised for, again, just like John Stephen, he's a junior, but very poised. A tall young man who can throw the football, but where he can get you is with his legs. Whenever you think you have great coverage, he can pick up first down just like he just did with his feet.
Sanders going to hand it for the first time today to Tyreke Davis. Big season for Tyreke Davis, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, just about 6 yards per carry for Davis. We told you he's kind of the heart and soul of this Ryan team, a two-way starter. And, Coach, that's a big matchup right there, that Highland Park front seven against Tyreke Davis. It would go a long way to getting a victory today if they can make Denton Ryan one-dimensional.
Absolutely.
Ryan has a couple men in the backfield here, a fullback in the game as Sanders looking to throw here, harassed by Turner Cox as he turns the corner.
Ooh.
Violently pushed out of bounds by a couple of Scots over there, and Don Woods in that yellow shirt, he'd like that.
Boy, that's a big hit right there, and I guarantee you Coach Dave Hennigan does not want Spencer Sanders to take many of those here today. The Scots are getting after it right now after the big 15-yard face mask penalty gave great field position to Denton Ryan, and big play right here for the Scots.
That was Bennett Brock on the stop. This is 2nd down and 10 now. No gain on the scramble there by Sanders. Scots shift up front with the defensive line. And a flag comes in. Coach, that might be a false start. That's not the first time this year they've been able to generate early movement with that shift up front.
Yeah, the Scots.
Offense, number 13. Replay, 2nd down.
The Scots show that shift quite often. Now, what's ironic is more often than not, they're going to get the offensive lineman to jump. In that case, it was not the offensive lineman. It was actually a wideout, number 13, Jimmy Love. So kind of an unorthodox motion penalty there on Denton Ryan, but the Scots will take it.
2nd down and 15 now for Ryan as Sanders looking to throw. Left side, he's got a man, and that's his top target, Gabriel Douglas. Coach, we talked a lot about Tyreke Davis and Spencer Sanders, but Douglas is a good-looking athlete on the outside, headed to Lubbock.
He's a stud. I know that Cliff Kingsbury's got to be just absolutely thrilled to be gaining a recruit like Douglas. He is, 6'4", 210 pounds, just can really run, got great hands, exactly what you're looking for in a wide receiver at the next level.
Prototypical wideout as it's 3rd down and 6. Big early down in the game for Highland Park. Sanders surveys the field, throws left side. That is complete. Good pitch and catch right there. That was number 4, Jalen Hurt on the reception. Moved the chains there for Denton Ryan. And terrific coverage over there. I believe that was Sitzer on the coverage for Highland Park. Check that, George Stewart coming off his starring role in last week's game.
Boy, that's just you got to give credit right there. Just a perfect throw and a great catch. That was really nice coverage there by Stewart.
Stewart, of course, had the big deflection on 4th and goal against Mansfield Legacy. Sanders wants to throw, looking deep on the double move. And that will be hauled in. No, incomplete. It looked for a moment like he had it. That was number 88. Tyreke Dove, and good coverage on the back end by James Herring.
Yeah, I was about to say, those officials went down there and were talking about it, and I thought maybe they were going to try to call it a touchdown. I'm going to tell you right now, James Herring does a great job of recovering and at the last second knocking that football out of there. That is not a touchdown. He never had full. Yeah,
he got to go to the ground, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in Des Bryant, where he goes to work, and anybody that has followed the Dallas Cowboys know you have to catch that ball the way through the ground.
You got to maintain possession through the catch, they call it, and that was a great call right there by the officials.
And it
Great coverage there.
It looked like Dove had it. 6'4", 200-pound junior, another good-looking athlete. But Herring able to dislodge it at the last moment. One of 7 pass breakups he has on the year.
Good job by Herring of not giving up on the play.
2nd down and 10. Sanders rolling to the right. And that is Dove right there. That's incomplete once again. He had it and then lost it. Alex Walzell on the coverage.
The Scotties are flying to the football right now. I guarantee you, Denton Ryan they have not seen a defense that is this well coached, that's this fast, believe it or not, this athletic, and these guys fly to the ball. And when they get there and they get their paws on you, you're going down more often than not.
Couple of subs in the game here for Denton Ryan as they want to spread it out here on 3rd down and 10. potentially a 4-down territory here. Kicker Dylan McKnight, a senior, doesn't have too much range. They need the Scott 18-yard line here on 3rd and 10. Scott show A-gap pressure, and a timeout going to be taken here by Denton Ryan. Coach, I think Highland Park has to feel good just here in the early going. Obviously, there's a lot of football left to be played, but it appears here in the opening quarter like Highland Park belongs on this field with Denton Ryan. And coming into this week, there were a lot of people that felt like, well, this is a definitive Denton Ryan win. You look at the Dallas Morning News, all 8 pickers had the Ryan Raiders in this game.
Well, obviously they're very talented. They're undefeated. There has really not been a game necessarily where they have even had a close contest. But let me tell you something, Miles. They did not play in a very competitive district, okay? Conversely, the Scots did. The Scots were battle-tested, and I feel like every opponent they have played in this playoff run that they have made has been better and better and better, and really they've handled them with ease with the exception of the 14-7 win last week. So, yeah, I think if you're the Scots, I think you're pleased with the start of this game. You know, and you got to respect the fact that Denton Ryan is potent offensively. They can score in a hurry, but I'm telling you, Denton Ryan has not seen a team this talented defensively like they are here this afternoon.
3rd down and 10 here for Spencer Sanders, the Oklahoma State-bound quarterback. He's got 2 receivers stacked to each side as the Scots are going to flex Holson back out to play some defensive back here. As Sanders looking to throw right side. That's complete. It's going to be short of the marker as Highland Park swarming to the football. It was Walzell first, and then Herring as well as House helping to clean it up. And this will bring up a 4th down and short.
What Denton Ryan has been able to do all year is throw passes just like this, and these big receivers have been able to make plays past that point. Obviously, they knew they were in 4-down territory. They were going to pick up what they could and give themselves a manageable 4th down opportunity. But what a play early in this game right here on 4th down for Denton Ryan and the Highland Park defense.
Chritauskie Dove took a pretty good lick right there from the Scots. And here comes the biggest play of the game so far, 4th down and 3 for Denton Ryan. They need the Scott 18-yard line. Man in motion. It's going to be Sanders. The ball is on the ground. Highland Park's going to get their first stop.
Denton Ryan went with kind of a timing snap where they send a young man in motion. The timing was off. The snap came and hit the young man going in motion right there. Ball's on the ground, as you'll see right there. He wasn't prepared for it. They were going to try to run that fly sweep, and the Scots were all over it when that ball went on the ground. What a big-time stop there for the Scots early in this game.
Let's head down to Paige Schnorbach with an update from the field.
Miles, Eric, I'm sure y'all can see it from where you are, but the energy on this Highland Park sideline is unbelievable. They've come out and had a great start for what we thought this game was going to go like, and you wouldn't even think that Jack Kosmetsky was injured or the way he's jumping around. Let's hope the Scots can keep this up.
Thanks, Paige. Yeah, we had a good talk with Jack before the game. His spirits are up. Coach, it was cool to see Cade Sostad in uniform in the pregame.
It was. Kind of threw me for a loop. I thought they may be trying to get him out there. Unfortunately, he's not able to play still, but it is nice to see him.
Alexander in motion. It's Jones stepping up, breaking a tackle. Jones finds his outlet, and Alexander, he's got running room. Paxton Alexander all the way to midfield.
Let me tell you something. That right there was John Stephen Jones. What an incredible play by number 9. He takes a huge hit from the backside, doesn't see it coming, and he's able to pick up a big-time conversion for the first down.
Flag is down right at the end of the play.
And Coach Allen is hot. I think that it looks like they may be trying to call a hold out there on the edge, and Coach Allen, I'm hoping they wave that thing off because he is not pleased should they make that call. What a play right there by John Stephen Jones.
And Coach Cody Groves, Mesquite Poteet head coach, I saw an interview with him in the Dallas Morning News this week. He's one of the coaches that played both of these teams. Cody Groves, by the way, had a tremendous year for Mesquite Poteet. Finally lost last week.
There is no flag on the play. The initial contact was his shoulder.
So great news right there for Highland Park as they pick up the flag. But Coach,
I mean, look at that. He just got drilled right there.
But Groves basically said, hey, this is a John Stephen Jones game, and he's going to be the X factor for the Scots. Not to put any more pressure on him, but they need Jones to play really well.
He's the key here today, absolutely.
First down and 10 for the Scots after the long scamper by Alexander.
Well, that
already leading 3-0.
That last play just showed the strength that John Stephen possesses.
They hand it to Alexander up the gut. That's going to be a loss.
Well, you're going to see 99 a lot here today. That's Ernest Brown IV, the Northwestern commit. And you also see number 56. That's Denton LeBlanc. He's a D tackle. He also is a junior. I mean, this junior class for Denton Ryan is loaded. If they are not the #1 team in the state coming back next year, I will be floored.
Ryan, like we said, have won 27 of their last 28 games. Very successful at the 6A level as well, had an undefeated regular year. It's Jones under pressure, stepping up. Doesn't feel it from behind. He got sacked. The ball came out. Denton Ryan's got it. That's big number 56, LeBlanc. He might go all the way. He will. Touchdown, Denton Ryan. No flags on the field.
Yeah, John Stephen just trying to make something happen and didn't see it coming from the backside and just got absolutely drilled.
And Coach, that's just where at the quarterback position, you got to have that clock in your head. You got to know there's backside pressure there, and took that huge hit.
And you can't blame John Stephen. He's trying to make a play, and he's been great at it here so far this afternoon. He's been able to extend plays with his feet. He just didn't feel that pressure coming from the backside, and he took a huge hit, and the ball popped out of there.
Big return as well. That's the kind of thing the Scots need probably to happen for them today, maybe get a defensive touchdown. Bad news for Highland Park there, but good news as Ryan flinches on the left side of the line. And Coach, penalties have been a big problem.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, replay the try.
For Denton Ryan, they are averaging 99.6 penalty yards a game. That is a big,
that's a huge number. Yeah, that's a huge number. Now, conversely, the Scots have been very, very good.
35 yards a game.
There you go in the penalty column all year.
Highland Park's been excellent in the playoffs in terms of penalties, as the extra point is good, barely snuck in on the right side, so make it 7-3 Ryan. Scots only have 4 penalties in the last 3 weeks, so that's a definitive check in their area there. But that was a huge play by Denton LeBlanc, making a couple big plays in a row there for that Ryan defense as they score on the defensive side.
Yeah, John Stephen just did not see
Toby Birch.
Just didn't see it coming from the backside. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge play. It's a big momentum play because the Scots really had every bit of the momentum on their side after the big 4th down stop and then the big play by John Stephen to find Paxton out of the backfield. And that's a big momentum swinger because you can tell Denton Ryan is now feeling a lot of positivity on their sideline right now.
This game had to be moved from the Frisco Star, where it was originally scheduled to be played, here to AT&T because they didn't think the Star could hold all the fans that were going to be here today, as Highland Park and Denton Ryan both bringing an excellent contingent here today.
Great crowd here this afternoon.
So, Coach, how does John Stephen Jones and that Scott offense rebound from that play that has to be a little bit shocking there for that offensive huddle?
Well, going into this week, obviously the coaching staff for Highland Park talked a lot about how they were going to have to find a way to control the line of scrimmage, which was a very difficult task. The offensive line, their task here today was going to be monumental to control that front 4 for Denton Ryan. So with that being said, I think that you're going to see Coach Allen try to go back to really what got them going there early. They were able to have a couple of effective run plays early on. You've got to be able to run the ball against this Denton Ryan team. If you're going to rely on John Stephen and just drop back and make plays left and right, it's going to be very, very difficult. The Scots have to not allow themselves to become one-dimensional.
So a big series here for the Scots to answer, as Ryan now has a 7-3 lead here with 4:25 left in the first quarter. You get a sense of why a lot of people favor Denton Ryan in this game. Very aggressive, very big, very athletic up front. And Scott certainly knew that coming into this one. They felt good about their chances in this game.
They did, absolutely.
As McKnight kicks it deep, it'll be Waters fielding it on the run at about the 25-yard line as Waters upended there at the 30-yard line. Nice return by Waters.
You know, the other thing that I think the Scots really like to see, believe it or not, is they like to open up the paper and see that all those 8 pickers took Denton Ryan. You know, to kind of come in today as the underdog and not feel like that they were expected to blow somebody out, like that they have had that expectation level over the last 4 weeks.
So the Scots offense retakes the field here. 4:21 remaining here in the opening quarter. 3 receiver to the right of Jones. JT Dooley, the lone target on the bottom of the screen, as it's Alexander in the backfield. Jones surveys the field, tried to set up the screen there to Alexander, and he takes a big hit. That was Tyreke Davis, the star running back and middle linebacker, and you see why the UNT Mean Green want him in uniform. Let's head down to Paige Schnorbach, who has another update from the field.
Eric, you touched on that touchdown for Denton Ryan being a big momentum shift, but the Scots offense already has come together, and I saw Jacob Urbanzik telling them, shake it off, don't let this affect you the rest of the game. They just need to keep their heads in, and let's hope they can do that.
Thanks, Paige. 3-yard loss there on first down for Highland Park. 2nd down and 13 here from their own 28-yard line. Jones throwing left side. That's JT Dooley with the catch. JT will set up a 3rd down and manageable for Highland Park. And boy, what a huge weapon Dooley has been for the Scots, all things considered, battling through that injury. We didn't know if we'd have JT Dooley at all here in 2016.
Boy, that's a big-time catch right there by the senior, to be knowing that he's going to take a big hit on that slant route. He takes a shot, but he holds on and gives the Scots a manageable 3rd down opportunity.
It's 3rd down and 3 here from the 38-yard line. They need the 41. 2-back set. Urbanzik and Alexander in the game. They pitch it here to Urbanzik. And Jacob Urbanzik into the open field, showing off the speed. Jacob Urbanzik dragging a defender all the way to the 30-yard line. And a late flag is going to come in as well.
And that's got to go against Denton Ryan. And if so, that's going to be a 15-yard personal foul.
And that was actually Parker Alexander that was wrestling with that defender at the end of the play, and Parker had his helmet come off.
This is going to be an interesting call right here, and one that it's the most interesting part is the fact that it's over here on the Denton Ryan sideline. I just don't see how in the world they would be able to call that against Parker Alexander. It looked like he got drugged to the ground in a very...
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 10 on white.
There we go.
Unnecessary roughness. 15 yards to the end of the run. The player would be allowed to stay in. The helmet was a result of the foul.
So that's Delano Robinson. Robinson, one of their best defenders. He's got an offer from Air Force himself.
Well, what a play call right there by Coach Allen. That option to the short side of the field, and John Stephen times it perfect. And then look at Jacob Urbanzik. Crank it up in there and pick up a big 1st down and hold on to the football.
Urbanzik showing off that track speed as Highland Park goes with the hard count. Now they go check with me and look over at the sideline. Still with that 2-back set. They run the option again. They pitch it to Urbanzik. Nice catch there by Jacob as he lowers his helmet.
That's going to be a hold. Yeah, they tell you what, Ernest Brown is causing all sorts of issues right now for the offensive line. It seems like every play he is making his way into the backfield, and right there, the only way the Scots could block him was to hold on to him.
Holding offense, number 54. 10 yards, previous spot, replay, 1st down.
They get Mursky with it that time, but it's going to be all 5 of these guys today dealing with Ernest Brown at some point.
Well, I'm telling you, that front 4 is by far the most talented bunch that the Highland Park Scots have seen all year long. I mean, you're talking potentially, in my opinion, 4 collegiate football players, 3 of which I think are going to go play at the Division I level.
So it's 1st down and 20 here for the Scots. That hold puts them back at the 25-yard line. They have gotten, by far, the better of the total yards in this game. With that defensive touchdown for Ryan, the difference is Jones throws. Was it caught by Dooley? Yes, it was, at the 20-yard line. Great catch right there by JT.
Good job right there by the offensive line of holding up and giving John Stephen the chance to step up in the pocket. And a good play, good catch right there by JT.
Get a little bit back, make it 2nd down and 15. Highland Park has already moved the ball to the tune of 6 first downs, 117 yards. Jones already has 83 through the air. 2nd and 15. Wants to throw again. Left side, JT Dooley on the catch, still on his feet, down to the 7-yard line. It's going to be close to a Scott first down.
I mean, I cannot say enough about JT Dooley, and he is a man here today. He knows he's going into some difficult area of the field right there. There's a lot of white jerseys, and he is just stepping up and making plays on that slant route. That's a tough route to run.
And Highland Park's going to bring 3 new players in the lineup here as Turner Cox, Matt Gamm, and Jack Fain check into the lineup. So Fain will be in there at running back, listed on the depth chart as the Scots' number 3 QB. Only one receiver, it's JT Dooley here on 3rd down and 2. They give it to Urbanzik, trying the left side. That's going to be a first down for Highland Park.
Now Paxton?
That was Paxton Alexander.
That's how you just come off the football right there. You bring in those additional offensive linemen. There's Turner Cox, Matt Gamm. Those guys just come off the ball and pick up a big first down.
Coach, what do you think of Jack Fain in the lineup here?
I'll tell you right now, Jack Fain just laid a really nice block to spring that run. He was the key block right there on that play.
Scots break the huddle here from the 3-yard line. They stay with that jumbo set. Jones gives it to Alexander. Up the middle. Paxton Alexander has a Scott touchdown.
That's what I'm talking about. That's big-time drive right there for the Scots. What an answer to the turnover touchdown. I mean, that you had to have it. That is a character-building drive right there by Highland Park. And I'm going to say it, that's a championship drive right there. That's what you have to do in order to overcome turnovers just like they gave up on that last possession. That's big time right there. What a job by the offensive line.
So Jackson Hubbard back out for the extra point out of the snap of Giffen. The hold from Jack Toohey. And all of that is clean. 8 plays, 69 yards. They took 4 minutes and 5 seconds off the clock. And Coach, the question coming into this game was, well, certainly Highland Park's got the defense. They've got the special teams.
Can they score?
Do they have the offense without Kate Sawstad and Jack Kosmetsky and Scully Geneva?
They've answered the question to me, Miles. I'll be honest with you. I was curious about that myself. I knew that this Ryan Raider defense was stout. You know, Highland Park putting up 14 points last week against a good Mansfield Legacy team, but the question was, can the Scotties put up enough offensive points? And so far here today, they have had no issue moving the ball.
Coach, how about those offensive numbers here in the first quarter for Highland Park?
It really has gone according to script. I mean, 142 total yards for Highland Park, 7 first downs. Again, they have kept, for the most part, they have kept Denton Ryan's offense off the field. Denton Ryan picked up 2 first downs for 34 yards. But so far here in the first quarter, again, the Scots are dominating the stat sheet. John Stephen Jones, 9 of 12 for 75% completion percentage for 101 yards. Jacob Urbanzik with that 1 single run, but 32 yards. And Paxton Alexander, 6 attempts, 20 yards, and a touchdown. So a really, really nice start here offensively for the Scots.
Highland Park going for program win number 800 today, as that's an onside kick, and it's going to go out of bounds. And that was Hubbard on the kickoff.
And the Scots.
I talked with both kickers before the game today. Cordiere told me he would be the one handling the kickoffs, and told me we have a surprise onside kick.
Procedure against kick a team. Kick out
in
of
the
bounds,
game plan today.
5 yards.
Confused as to why that was Jackson.
First down.
Just didn't get the bounce they needed there.
I'm sure maybe they felt like Jackson was a little better, kicker in the onside kick arena. That, I like the call right there. You've got to take some chances here in a game like this against a team like Denton Ryan. Take some chances. Try to catch a team sleeping. They try to go with the onside kick, kind of unlike, Coach Allen in that arena. He's normally pretty conservative in that regard, but I like the play call right there, and the defense is just going to have to step up, which they've done all year long.
Not surprised that they used it there, and they told me it could be in a situation where we feel like we have the momentum and we want to seize even more momentum. As a man is in motion there, it's going to be Sanders keeping it himself on the draw up the middle. Solid pickup on first. Let's head down to Paige with more.
Thanks, Miles. It's unclear what the injury is, but number 5, Jacob Urbanzik, his left arm is being put in a sling right now. He's pretty upset. out of this game than the pain, but we'll see if he's able to go back in later.
Thank you, Paige. That's terrible news for Highland Park.
That is a huge loss for HP. I hate to hear that, for Jacob and this team.
So that will do it for the first quarter. Highland Park in the lead right now, 10-7. We will go to a quick commercial and be back with more. You're watching Highland Park football presented by Game On Sports. Back here at AT&T Stadium, Miles Dunklin along with the coach Eric Cunningham, Paige Schnorbach bringing you the sights and sounds down there from the sideline. And Coach, that was really bad news we got from Paige right there at the end of the first quarter. Highland Park now out their 4 top skill position players, and at some point it just becomes too much to overcome, but the Scots still moving the ball here.
That's just brutal. I mean, you just feel for the young man and Jacob Urbanzik and this Scott team. They just continue to lose key contributors. They just got to find a way to overcome. Just show the heart and determination that they have all year long and find a way to overcome. And Jack Fain, bud, here you go. What a luxury to have a guy like that who's been a quarterback his whole career is going to come in and play running back.
A couple H-backs in the game. They hand it to the man in motion, and Luke Blanton blows him up at the 40-yard line.
Anybody have a question as to why that young man just picked up a Division I offer? Get you some of that right there. What a play by 95. I mean, he fights off the block, and that is what you would call, Miles, a form tackle, my friend.
Tamar Butts just found out why Army wants the services of Luke Blanton.
Boy, that's a thing of beauty right there. I mean, look, he just pops up. He doesn't showboat. He gets right back to the line of scrimmage. That's why I love Luke Blanton.
We have had a lot of fun watching
I'm gonna miss
number
that young
95
man.
this year. He leads the team with 19 tackles for loss. Big 3rd down and 6 here for Spencer Sanders. They hand it off up the middle. That's Davis. Davis close to the marker. Looks like he'll have a Denton Ryan first down. If not, it's going to be very close. They say move the chains. And Coach Tyreke Davis is a difference maker.
Well, he's a stud. I mean, on both sides of the ball. I don't know if he's come off the field yet, quite frankly. I mean, on defense, he's making plays left and right, and you're exactly correct. He is a difference maker.
Big offensive line for Denton Ryan. As Davis likes to run behind those guys. Spencer Sanders wants to throw here, trying to escape. Turner Cox going to get another sack. He had 2 last week. He continues his monster playoff run.
Hey, we gave Luke Blanton praise for good reason. Let's shift our focus to 97, Big Turner Cox, another young man that's picked up Division I offers to play at the next level. He is an absolute stud. You just can't block him with one young man. You better get 4 hands on him if you stand a chance to block 97. We've talked a lot about Ernest Brown IV. Let me tell you something, Miles. 97 for the blue and gold may be just as good as 99 for the white here today.
2nd down and 18 after the big loss. And they hand it off to Davis. Big hole up the middle, but Bennett Brock filled it and made the stop.
And that's a big-time play right there by a middle linebacker. If he doesn't make that play, he's going to be able to get into the secondary, and you never know past that point. So a really nice play there by Bennett Brock.
It'll be 3rd down and 14 upcoming for Denton Ryan. Once again, the Scots look very good here in the early going of this game. They have been able to get push on defense, move the ball on offense. Big 3rd down and 14 here upcoming from the 36-yard line. Scots show pressure. They bring it in the form of John House up the middle. Sanders looking to go deep. And that will be incomplete. What a play on the back end by Alex Walzell.
How about these secondary young men? I talked to Darren Eason, and I said, Darren, in your opinion, talk to me about the defense and then just, the overall just D and these young men. He said, Coach, the secondary just continues to get better and better and better. We knew that front 3 or 4, the front 7 really were going to be stout. We just didn't really know what to expect from the secondary. And he said, I'm not so sure that they are not the heart and soul of this defense right now.
Chritauskie Dove checks in at 6'4", 200. Walzell, 5'7", 160.
Heart, brother.
And Walzell won the battle.
That's
as
hard.
Sanders going to pooch it here. And it's going to take a good bounce for Denton Ryan.
You know what?
And
That's
be down
okay.
inside the 10, but the Scots will take it as Denton Ryan has really not looked comfortable offensively. They have not moved the ball very well as Highland Park is 2 for 2 on defensive stops.
I mean, just incredible play by the secondary. I mean, Walzell, again, you talked about it, Miles. You're talking about a young man that's 5'7", 160 pounds going up against a stud receiver, 6'4", 200 pounds. I mean, so, based upon the physical makeup of these two young men, who would you think would have come up with that ball? But I'm telling you, you cannot coach heart like you. I'm telling you that just the character that these Scots possess, they are just not going to give up. They're not going to quit, and they're going to make plays that you just don't feel like that they can make.
Coach, I thought the secondary was really the best unit on the field last week for Highland Park.
Agreed.
They played tremendous ball. And how about George Stewart there at the end of the week last week, the hero of that game?
For good reason. Any social media site you turn to, you've seen that play by George Stewart, and I absolutely love it. George, what a play there late in that game. It was textbook defense and secondary play. And George is a young man who's always just been kind of gone about his business, kind of quiet, and you just could not ask for a better script to an ending of a game than that right there.
Let's give a lot of credit to David Clark and Toby Trotter, the guys who have coached up that unit, in particular David Clark,
Absolutely.
coaching those corners. James Herring, we knew coming into the year, well, that guy's a stud. We did not know what the Scots had on the outside, and they've just gotten better week after week.
Absolutely. Just, again, I was talking to Coach Easton, and he just said, Coach, it's a group of individuals who have made up an incredible collective team. They just do their job. They know what their job is, and they execute that job. And, you can have the best athletes in the world and really not have a ton of success if those young men aren't going to be a part of the team and just do their role.
Jacob Urbanzik is indeed out of the game, like Paige Schnorbach reported. So Jack Fain is in the game at running back for Highland Park as they hand it to Alexander up the middle. The Michigan commit on the lacrosse field will have a short gain. Tackled by Tyreke Davis, who just flat out does not leave the field.
You talk about, just what a luxury to have a guy like Jack Fain, who he's played quarterback, Miles, all year, his entire career. And here he is in the biggest game of his life in at running back, a different position, and he'll know exactly what to do.
As Denton Ryan is stacking the box here, almost no safety help deep as Jones rolls to the right. Got a good block from Fain, throws over the outstretched arms there of Jack Toohey. And he'll bring up a key 3rd down and 8 here from the Scots' shadow of their own goalpost.
And you said it, this is a key 3rd down right here. A ball that just kind of escalated on John Stevens just a little bit. But if nothing else, the Scots need to pick up some yardage just to give them, get out of the shadows of their own end zone.
Fain checks out here as Hudson Wood and Parker Alexander are in the game in the slot. It's Toohey and Dooley on the outside. So they go with the hard count. Now they look over to the sideline. Go check with me. Jones on a key 3rd and 8. Straight drop. Now he steps up. Jones going to try and take it himself. Looking for the sticks. He will be short there at the 13-yard line. Look for a moment like JS might have a chance to pick it up, but the Scots will have to punt it away here.
Thought he had a little bit of a crease right there and just wasn't quite able to get to the sticks. I'm anxious to see if Michael Clark it is going to be Michael Clark, and for good reason. What a great job he's done as the punter here late in this year. And that's another young man that I mentioned to me as a key to this game is being able to get a great kickoff in the punt situation, and then you've got a stud back to receive that kick in Gabriel Douglas.
12 boots on the year for Clark, 39.5 yards per boot. And he gets a good end-over-end kick here. But this is an outstanding return for Gabriel Douglas. He's got room inside the 15-yard line where Denton Ryan will set up shop. No flags on the field. And this will be an important sudden change situation here for this Scott D. Might have outkicked his coverage just a little bit there.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a little shocked that he even kicked the football to him. I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted to try to keep the ball out of his hands as best as they can. It was really the perfect recipe for Denton Ryan to have a successful return. The football was not kicked all that high, so he was able to really get a good return. They set up a nice little wedge for him right there, and the Scots, here they are again with their backs against the wall.
So first down and 10 here from the 12 for Denton Ryan and Spencer Sanders. Sanders keeping it himself. Left side, he got nothing. He lost yardage there as Holsomback and Blanton set the edge.
Great job right there by Max and Blanton. You're right. They set the edge. They just were not going to allow Spencer to get outside of them.
I thought Blanton got held.
I think he got held as well.
This is a big offensive line for Denton Ryan. 225, 280, 310. Big Dawson Lawhart checks in at 6'5", 330 at right guard. Nate Wilson, 5'11", 255. They don't move as well as some of the offensive lines Highland Park's faced this year. Sanders rolling to his right, wants to throw. Now he's going to take off and run before he's knocked down by Bennett Brock and Matt Gam.
What a huge play this is upcoming here for the Highland Park defense. If they can find a way, and Sanders is down.
Sanders not looking good over there at the 7-yard line on the far side of the field. The risky run when you put your quarterback in motion as much as they do.
Well, this could be a huge loss to Denton Ryan. I mean, the Scots just continue to get hit with losses themselves, but whoa, what a loss this could be, and he is not. Looks like we may be dealing with some sort of maybe a right leg injury. It's hard to tell from here.
Certainly don't want to speculate. The other quarterback on the roster is Josh Branch, a 5'9", 170-pound senior.
I mean, you can hear a dadgum pin drop in here right now. I mean,
and coach, this year Josh Branch is 2 for 6 for 16 yards.
Well, Spencer Sanders has been on the field, I mean, all year long. I mean, again, the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, he's accounted for over 4,300 yards.
Sanders up on his feet.
Yeah,
he made 58 touchdowns this year.
Just very little weight being.
And that is a huge loss for Dave Hennigan if he indeed cannot return to the game. Yeah, Coach, interesting that Dave Hennigan, a guy who did coach at Highland Park there in the early 2000s.
He did, absolutely. Boy, I tell you, boy, he is struggling right now. You can tell he's having a tough time just getting off the field. Yes, but Coach Hennigan, he is a former Highland Park coach. He a really good man. He had a head coaching stint at Corsicana High School. But this could be a huge turning point in this football game.
As many players as Highland Park has lost on offense. Interesting to see one finally go down on the other end. You certainly never want to root for an injury, but
Spencer Sanders
huge play in the game.
And he's walking on his own right now over there. Looks like he's just kind of catching his breath. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what happened, but I'd be shocked if he's not back in this game.
They have a different player listed at backup quarterback, but here comes Creed Gentry into the game, number 17. Very tall senior. Gentry looking to throw right side. Had it knocked down. That was John House on the pressure to force the incompletion.
And Scots brought the house right there. They brought a lot of pressure. You see Spencer Sanders is over on the sideline kind of moving around, running around. So I'd be shocked if he's not back in this game here pretty quickly.
Spencer Sanders or not, Coach, what a win that was for the Scott defense.
Absolutely huge. Great point right there. I mean, again, backs against the wall, and they look like, they're going to force the field goal attempt. But, yeah, just a massive win for the Highland Park defense.
And Denton Ryan took over there at the 15-yard line. Here on 4th down and 6. This will be a 26-yard effort. And it is good for McKnight. Let's head down to Paige Schnorbach on the field.
Miles, I was right next to Sanders when he went down. It was clearly a really hard hit. You could hear him screaming in pain from where we were. I hope he's okay. He was holding his right leg. We all saw him limp off. Eric said it best. He will probably be back in this game, but we hope he's okay. These are just high schoolers.
Thanks, Paige. Yeah, good to keep things in perspective here. Certainly this is a big football game. Highland Park wants to win, but you hope for the health of Spencer Sanders, who obviously has a great career upcoming.
He's going to be back out on the field, I guarantee you. I mean, you can see, you see him over there loosening himself up. You know, obviously you hope for the best. You don't want any young man, you know, especially with a young man with a career like he has ahead of him, to go down. But he'll be back out there. He just right now you see him over there loosening himself up, and he's moving around too well not to be back out on the field.
Let's go down to page one more time to give a little perspective on exactly what Highland Park has lost this year at that skill position.
Thanks, Miles. So we just saw, and now before that, it's in the form of Kane. The Scots have lost their 2 leading receivers and top rusher, 9 receiving yards and 13 receiving touchdowns. It's also 147 carries for 930 pounds rushing. Clearly, their injuries have made a huge impact, but we can see that either.
Thanks, Paige, and we had a good chance to talk with Kosmetsky before the game. His spirits were definitely up, and there you get a good look at Cade Sostad as well as Scully Genevine. And Coach, it was nice to see Cade in the uniform before the game, and I'm sure some of those Denton Ryan defensive coaches were going, whoa, we didn't know 88 was going to play.
I was right there with him. I got to the booth and looked out there and went, I see a young man that I have not been able to see over the last couple of weeks in Cade Sostad warming up. It was good to see him out there running around. Obviously, he is not going to be able to put a helmet on and play here today, but it was good to see him out there running around on the field, and I'm sure it did throw the Denton Ryan coaches for a little bit of a loop.
So Highland Park back to return here. It's Waters and Dooley with Paxton Alexander in between them. Alexander standing at his own 5-yard line.
I mean, what a job by this Highland Park defense here so far. Again, they get onside kick that does not happen. They're able to come up with the stop. And then the big punt return by Douglas puts Highland Park down pinned with their backs at their own 15-yard line, and they are able to just give up the 3 points.
Only 45 total yards so far for Denton Ryan, as that kick will go through the back of the end zone, rather the side of the end zone, for a touchback. Coach, do you see the Scots going away from what they call that rope and lasso look, the 2-back set, now with the loss of Urbanzik, a little bit more 4-wide receiver? Or are they just going to do what they want to do and trust Jack Fain?
I think they're going to do exactly what they want to do. The full playbook will be open. Jack Fain is a young man. Again, he's a playmaker. He knows the playbook. And I think, if they want to run the 2-back, that's exactly what they'll do.
Scots have really favored that 2-back set in the playoffs. Here they're going to deploy 4 wide receivers. It's Dooley, Alexander, Wood, and Tui, with Paxton Alexander in the backfield. From the far right hash, Jones gives it to Alexander. A little bit of running room up the middle as he squirts his way to the 29-yard line.
So far here, if the Scots can get that initial chip on those 4 down linemen and then get to the next level and make a block, I think it'll spring Paxton Alexander here. Right there, you saw the Scots were able to get a nice little push up front, and then, again, get to the next level and pick up 3 or 4. But if they can pick up those second-level blocks on those 2 linebackers, they got a chance to really spring some big runs.
They've got 2 good inside backers, Jason Goley and Tyreke Davis, both about 185, and they both pack a punch. Here on 2nd down and 7. They give it to Alexander once again, and he is stopped right there at the line of scrimmage. Big number 56, Dayton LeBlanc, sat on him.
Yeah, and that's 21 as well, Tyreke Davis. I have been incredibly impressed with him here early on in this football game. As you see, there he comes up and makes that play. I would be shocked if he's not on the defensive side of the ball for the University of North Texas next year.
Staying at home there in Denton. Big 3rd down and 8 here for the Scots. 5:50 left in the second quarter. Jones looks over at the sideline to get some new signals. See more of that 4-2-5 look from Denton Ryan. And they want to run the option. Jones wants to throw it, looking deep, incomplete. A double coverage there on Jack Tui.
And they're still working on Spencer Sanders down there. It's going to be, I'm anxious to see if he's back out there. Right there on that play, though, they try to run that option where, the option pass look where hopefully that Tui was going to be able to squirt free, and give credit to Denton Ryan. They did a good job of defending that play much better than they did early in this football game.
Still got number 17, and that's Creed Gentry warming up on the sideline, as Gabriel Douglas is standing at his own 38-yard line ready for this return, as Michael Clark has the punt blocked, and it's picked up by Denton Ryan at the 10-yard line.
Special teams, brother. Special teams is huge. This Scott defense continues to get their back put up against the wall, and hopefully they're able to rise to the occasion again, but you just cannot continue to be put in these situations against a team as talented as Denton Ryan is.
And that was Toby Birch that blocked it. Coach, it was Birch that had the sack fumble on John Stephen Jones earlier. They've got him listed at that rover position.
And they brought the house right there. That was an intentional block. They were trying to block that kick. I think they felt like they had something in the, up front. Felt like they could squirt some guys through, and that was a definitive, easy block for Denton Ryan.
So at the 10-yard line, they will set up. And they're going with a wildcat look here. That's number 11, Jordan Rucker. Rucker hands it off to Davis. Tyreke Davis upended there at the 1-yard line. So just short of the goal line, but a very solid first and goal play.
So this is a new wrinkle. The Scots are going to have to kind of, probably not something obviously that they have seen with this wildcat look. So some very, very makeshift defensive changes could potentially have to happen here for Highland Park to account for that wildcat look.
Now Jordan Rucker is listed on our roster as a cornerback, as Creed Gentry's back in the game at cornerback. A traditional power eye look here for Denton Ryan. And they hand it off to Davis. And he is in. Touchdown, Raiders.
Just a standard I formation dive play right there, an old school play right there. And again, you cannot be upset with the Highland Park defense. They just put, in 3 really difficult situations early in this game.
Well, they've given up a total of 55 yards here in the first half, but Ryan on top 17-10. And Coach, these are the exact kind of things that maybe Highland Park needed to go their way in this game. A block punt, a fumble return, and not a good omen that Ryan has picked up a couple of those special teams plays.
Well, this time of year, these are the type of things that carry you to the state championship. Is you got to be able to make some plays in the special teams arena. If you're Highland Park, again, they have been so good all year long in those areas. You see at this level quite often teams that struggle in the punt game, in the extra point field goal, all the special team arena. But I'll tell you, Highland Park's been great at it all year. And here early in this game, they have had a couple things go against them, and it puts them in a difficult situation. And it's very tough to overcome those types of things when they happen to you against a team this talented.
Well, I know from talking to Mateo Corgere before the game, he said, well, I look on film, I time how quickly the other team gets across on extra points. And he said this is the fastest team we had seen all year. They blocked a lot of extra points, a lot of kicks. And there they are blocking a punt, and Tyreke Davis able to cash it in there from the 1-yard line.
This is a really big drive right here for the Highland Park offense. They've got to find a way to kind of flip the field, so to speak. I feel like that the play has been really pinned down on this side of the field this entire quarter. They really need to try to flip the field and go down and at least get some points on the board via field goal, or a touchdown will be huge on this drive.
So Denton Ryan now leading this one 17-10. And really it's their offense that there was so much talk about, that Denton Ryan offense coming into this game. They averaged about 470 yards of offense a game, 40 points per contest. Well, offense hasn't done a whole lot. It was the punt return that set up a field goal, the blocked punt that set up the touchdown, and the fumble return that has Denton Ryan out in front here, 17-10. If the Scots don't score on this possession, they, like you said, Coach, at the very least like to be able to flip the field and keep Denton Ryan out of the end zone here at the end of the half. It'll be Ryan with the football to start the third quarter. As McKnight drills it deep on the short approach. It's Dooley from his own 1 yard line, bobbled the football. JT Dooley, he's got some open field. JT Dooley all the way to the 40-yard line. And Coach, sometimes when you drop that ball, that defense surges a little bit. They get out of their lanes, and JT was able to take advantage.
Boy, that was a huge return right there. Again, here we are in the special teams arena, and JT picks up a huge return. Again, that right there, just getting out to their own 41-yard line, was able to flip the field. So if the Scots can kind of get something going offensively, that return really is what spurred it.
JT Dooley returned a kick for a touchdown in this very building last year against Waco Midway. Thought for a moment like he might be able to spring it there.
And you're exactly right. Maybe him dropping the ball just kind of threw the timing off a little bit of Denton Ryan as they flew down the field. You know, again, they kind of overran him, so to speak, and he was able to find just a little crease and pick up the big return.
So Jones puts Alexander in motion as the Scots go 5 wide. John Stevens stepping up, now looking to his right, looking to throw it deep. And that might have been knocked down by that first line of defensive back.
It was, and Tui I think he was open there. John Stevens did a good job of stepping up in the pocket, and Tui had found he really ran a nice route to come back to the ball.
Tui's an outstanding route runner. Every time I go to practice, I see Todd John saying, great route, Jack, great route, almost every single rep. And they'll stay with the 3 wide here. Waters in the game now in the slot. Ooh. And it's Jones in motion. Alexander in the backfield by himself. He'll take it up the gut. Paxton Alexander into the open field. He's got a first down and more all the way down to the 37-yard line.
What a beautiful, beautiful play call right there by Coach Allen. They go 5 wide, but it's an interesting 5 wide. They send John Stevens in motion, and it's a design run the whole way. What a great job by the offensive line. Great job there by Shellmeyer of hanging on to that block just long enough. It's funny for me to continue hanging on. You know, again, there's no hold there. It's a great job of blocking, and Paxton is able to pick up a big-time first down. This was a nice answer here by the Scots.
All the way to the 33-yard line goes Alexander. 1st and 10 for the Scots, now under 4 minutes to play here in the first half. Jones going to keep it himself, a design quarterback draw. That's going to be a very short game.
They've got to call
Brown
that.
came out with the football, but the officials are saying that forward progress was stopped.
And I can't help but to look over and see Spencer Sanders has got his head in his hands, and he may be done for this game. So,
well, that would be a shame for Denton Ryan. Certainly one of the best players in the state of Texas, if not the entire country, is Spencer Sanders. And he still doesn't have that helmet on, you're right. Scots trailing here by 7 as it's been the Ryan defense and special teams that scored for the Raiders. As Jones has time, flips it to Alexander there on the shovel pass. Alexander broke a tackle, made a man miss, and he's going to be close to another Scott first down. Boy, Highland Park didn't come into this year saying Alexander is going to be the bell cow. They thought he might be a complementary piece, but right now he is carrying this offense.
They're putting the football in his hands as much as they can, and I think they're going to go to this power package here. But, well, I mean, it just speaks to the depth we've talked about all year long, and it also speaks to the playmaking ability of Paxton Alexander. Right there, that looked like that play was going to get blown up from the get-go, and he's able to turn it into a 7 or 8 yard gain.
Highland Park almost to 200 total yards here in the first half as they have a 3rd down and short. They give it to Alexander. Paxton probably did not get it. Depending on the spot, this is going to be a 4th down and short.
Looks like he's about a yard shy.
This would be a long field goal right on the edge of the range for Jackson Hubbard, which is 45 to 50 yards. Feel comfortable anything with 40 and in, but the offense is going to stay on the field as Coach Hennigan is urging the Orion faithful to make some noise on this important 4th and 1. Scots have Jack Fain and Paxton Alexander in the backfield. And it'll be Jones throwing it to a wide open Alexander in the flat. He's got a good block down the field. Paxton Alexander weaving all the way to the 4-yard line.
What a play call by Coach Randy Allen. You talk about guts. You know, everybody in the entire building thought he was going to run the football, and he, shows that mesh, play action, and then he gets it out there to Alexander. Just a tremendous play call right there. Great job by JT Dooley of blocking downfield. And once again, Miles, this is that championship drive that we talk about. They had to have an answer, and so far they've come up with it. Let's hope they can punch it in.
1st and goal inside the 3. Looked like Randy Allen wanted a timeout for a moment. Now they hand it off here to Alexander. Paxton Alexander's going to get inside the 2-yard line. Short gain there. This is certainly where they would love to have number 21, Jack Kosmetsky. This is really what he's made for. And Paxton kind of being asked to do something that's not really within his skill set in terms of running in between the tackles in these power sets.
Yeah,
We have a timeout. Highland Park's first charge timeout of the first half.
Got 44 seconds left here.
Correct the clock to 55 seconds, please. 55 seconds on the clock.
All year long, Miles, you got guys like Jack Kosmetsky and Jacob Urbanzik who have been able to pick up those tough yards in a short yardage situation. Jack, obviously, with a great knack for the end zone. Those two young men are over there with their arms in slings right now. So Paxton is just having to carry the load right now. Again, we're really depending on that offensive line, and give credit to Paxton. He's running really hard right now. He's doing some things that he's really never necessarily had to do. His athletic ability and speed and shiftiness have always been able to carry him to make big plays, but he's having to pick up some of those tough yards in short yardage situations, and I'm sure they'll call on him again here to make something happen here to score in a short yardage situation once again.
So 55 seconds on the clock. 2 timeouts left for both teams here. Fain remains in the offensive huddle for Highland Park, as well as Turner Cox and Matt Gamp. And JT Dooley is tight here, so this is as heavy a package as the Scots will run. 2nd and goal from the 3. The Scots want to throw it. Jones to Paxton Alexander, a diving catch for a Scott touchdown.
What a play right there by Paxton Alexander. We sit here and talk about how he has to pick up the tough yards, but my goodness gracious, what an athletic play it was right there to lay out and make a big-time play. You see Jack Kosmetsky coming over to give him a hug. My goodness, what a job by 35. He really put the Scots on his back on that drive.
And, Coach, how about the little wrinkle out of that power set? I don't think we had seen the Scots throw the ball one time all year out of that personnel group. But that's Randy Allen for you. As Giffen snaps it back to Tui. And Hubbard ties the game, 17-17.
That's a big-time answer right there. I mean, that's big time. And you see what a throw right there, and what a catch by Paxton Alexander.
8 plays, 59 yards, 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
Wow.
The key play, and what a grab right there by Paxton.
And people wonder why he's going, look at that. He wants the football. He wants the football, but people say, hey, he's going to go play University of Michigan lacrosse. And, if anybody thinks that you don't have to be an athlete to play that game, you better think again. What a job right there by Paxton Alexander. Great, concentration and athletic ability to go and make that catch. I mean, just, completely parallel to the ground, giving his body up. And, again, being asked to do something he hadn't had to do maybe in the duration of his career, and he is stepping up in a big way against a huge defense. What a drive right there, Miles, by the Highland Park Scott offense.
Well, he's a terrific receiver. He's their #1 receiver on the stat sheet right now coming into this game. He's now got 30 grabs on the year. He's already passed Scully Ginevine in that category.
Given the young men they've lost, I mean, he's going to be your top rusher and your top receiver across the board.
He really is the Scots' #1 weapon now, but that drive set up by the huge kick return by JT Dooley as Cordray drills it toward the corner. Good coverage by the Scots as they pin him at the 25-yard line, and Denton Ryan will take over here with 46 ticks remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, with Spencer Sanders, if he would have been out there, and it looks like he is done for the game. They've got some crutches over there next to him. It doesn't look like he'll return. But with him in the game, you would have think they would open up the playbook with 2 timeouts and 46 seconds on the clock. I'm anxious to see how they play this thing here deep in their own territory.
And they've once again got the cornerback, Jordan Rucker, in there. Not listed as a QB on the roster. And they hand it off here to Davis. Turner Cox going to track him down from behind.
I think they're going to be perfectly content to go in at halftime with the tie ball game.
Coach, what an incredible first half by Highland Park. If you were to tell me Denton Ryan returned a fumble for a score and blocked a punt in Highland Park's own territory, I would think Highland Park would have a multiple score deficit here.
Completely agree. I would think it would be multiple score, probably at least 2 touchdowns. Absolutely. It's been an incredible performance by Highland Park here in the first half.
And this time it'll be Rucker looking to throw, harassed by Cox. He'll pick up his second sack of the game. Why not?
How about going into the half on that note right there? That's a big play because it puts a great taste in the mouth of Highland Park and puts the momentum on their side going in at halftime.
4 sacks in the last 2 weeks by Turner Cox. Look for those offers to continue to rack up for big number 97 in blue and gold as Highland Park has momentum going into halftime.
Yeah, the crowd is fired up and for good reason. What a performance to give themselves an opportunity here in the second half. I mean, 17 apiece with a lot of things that didn't go their way, so great job by Highland Park.
We're going to take a quick break, be back with a recap of the first half as well as the Highland Park Bells and Band. You're watching Highland Park football presented by Game On Sports. Back here at AT&T Stadium, Highland Park and Denton Ryan tied at the midway point, 17-17. And Coach, what a remarkable first half by Highland Park. All things considered, Denton Ryan is lucky that this game is as close as it is right now.
You could not have said it any better. They are incredibly fortunate for this game to be 17 apiece. Again, the fumble return for a touchdown. They have a blocked punt. That they pin Highland Park down deep in their own territory on about their own 5 to 10 yard line. I mean, everything that could have gone Denton Ryan's way really did. And for them to be 17 apiece, and Highland Park, what an incredible job. In my opinion, they dominated the first half of that football game. It does not appear as if Spencer Sanders will be returning in this game, which is a huge hit for Denton Ryan. Certainly don't wish that upon any of these young men. But, in Highland Park in their own right just continues to take blow after blow in the injury game as well. It's just been a tough one for them to swallow as they lose Urbanzik. But you just cannot say enough about this Highland Park team and the heart they continue to show.
So we're going to take another break as we let you enjoy the Highland Park Color Guard, the Band and the Bells up next. On the other side of that, we will have a recap from the first half and a look around the rest of the area. By the way, there aren't many teams left, only the final 4 here in 5A Division I. We'll be back on the other side as you're watching Highland Park football presented by Game On Sports.
2016 Highland Bells. Lieutenants from left to right are Jillian Ellis, Manny Basso, Landry Myers, Olivia Gruber, and Flora Kate Richards. Highland Park High School proudly presents
award-winning Ryan High School Sensational Strutters. Team representatives for 2016-2017 are Taylor Campers, Jennifer Mark, and Evelyn Lira. Proud sponsors of the Ryan High School Strutters are Texas VIP Rewards, LLC, Chicken Express, Loop 288, Travis Mechanical, LLC, Surgery Associates of North Texas, ESDC Engineering Incorporated, Classic of Denton, Buchanan Metal Fabrication, LLC, Co-op Services, Caudle Realty and Keller Williams, Rachel Driscoll Photography, Carl Clement Ford, On Point Electric, and Grundon Financial Advisory Incorporated. Dance officers for 2016-2017 are Junior Lieutenant Mackenzie Harnan, Junior Lieutenant Gabriella Manticon, Lieutenant Captain Lane Humphreys, and your captain, Chloe Taylor. Strutter of the Week is Jolie Hell. Spirit Girl of the Week is Kaylee Wilson. And the Teacher of the Week is Miss Megan Warren. Now, watch and enjoy as the Strutters bring you their spirited holiday jazz skip routine to the Ryan Raider Band's rendition of We Need a Little Christmas. And now for your continued halftime entertainment, the spirit and pride of Ryan High School.
Miles Dunklin and the coach Eric Cunningham with you here at halftime at gorgeous AT&T Stadium. 17-all is your score here at the half. Coach Eric Cunningham, a wild first half. Both teams lost one of their best offensive weapons. Jacob Urbanzik went down for Highland Park. But really the headline out of that first half has to be Spencer Sanders, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation for Denton Ryan. Looks like he's out for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it could be some sort of a knee injury. He went off on crutches, so it does. All indications point towards him being out of this game, which is a huge, a point coming into the second half. But I'll tell you, Miles, I mean, Denton Ryan has to be absolutely thrilled to. This game's 17 apiece, and they have been completely dominated. They get the blocked punt. They score on a 1-yard run. They had they get the football on the Highland Park 10-yard line. The botched onside kick by Highland Park. So they get great field position there, and then obviously they get a turnover for a touchdown. So really, it is a first half that was completely dominated by the Highland Park Scots. Some stats to look at, and this is very telling, is 209 total yards for Highland Park offensively. A beautifully played offensive half by Highland Park, aside from the one fumble by Jones, for a touchdown for Denton Ryan. Denton Ryan, conversely, Miles, only 51 first half yards offensively. This is an offense that has just been incredibly potent. So it's not necessarily, I did feel like that this would be probably the best offense that Highland Park has seen all year long, but they have risen to the occasion once again, and that defense just continues to play great. Some key stats individually: John Stephen Jones, 12 of 18, 133 yards and 1 touchdown, no picks. Paxton Alexander is the man here in the first half. 12 rushes, 49 yards, 1 touchdown, and then receiving, he has 5 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown in that area as well. And that last one was huge with him laying out to make that play. So a first half that was completely dominated by Highland Park. Again, Denton Ryan has to feel very fortunate. They were able to get some key plays in the special teams area. And then they get, of course, the sack fumble and take it back to the house for their other score. They just were not able to get anything really going offensively. So really the Scots have to feel good about where they are in this football game.
Well, Coach, one thing the Scots did was keep that Denton Ryan offense off the field. They just flat didn't have the ball very much there in the first half. Spencer Sanders did not have a chance to really get anything going. That was one of your keys coming into the game. Looks like maybe you actually know something about football after all.
I don't know about that, but I did think that it was going to be a huge key is keeping that potent offense off the field. And then when they have been on the field, they really just have not been able to do much. A very frustrating first half, and again, a huge loss to lose a guy like Spencer Sanders. It's going to be interesting to see how Denton Ryan comes out and plays things offensively. Obviously, they've had number 17, Creed Gentry, who is a senior. Again, he's number 17, but he has not played all year long. It'll be interesting to see if they go to him full-time or if they go to that Wildcat look where they've had Jordan Rucker, number 11, who's a defensive back, who has come in and played in that Wildcat formation. So the Scots, obviously, it's probably a great time for them to be able to go in at half and prepare for that exact thing. You certainly wish for the best for Spencer Sanders. He has an incredible career ahead of him. But, Miles, we're in for just a really fun second half here with a game that's really looking, it's just like a 0-0 ball game.
Coach, if you're Dave Hennigan, what are you telling your offense here at halftime? Because obviously, judging by the way Highland Park moved the ball offensively there in the first half, they're going to need to put up some points here in the second half, and they are without really their main weapon offensively. You look at Creed Gentry is 3 for 8 passing this year for 25 yards. The other quarterback they have listed on the roster, Josh Branch, is 2 for 6 for 16 yards. And Jordan Rucker has 0 pass attempts on the season. Jordan Rucker, I don't even see him as having any rushing attempts on the season. So they're really just going to have to manufacture offense here. And now Highland Park can really focus in on defending that rushing attack and Tyreke Davis. And as good as Davis is, you see him right there breaking the plane for the score. When they're able to focus in on one player, things are going to be a lot easier for Don Woods and company.
Well, you talked about the fact that, Denton Ryan, it's obvious that they're probably going to have to run the ball for the majority of the time here in the second half. The bad thing for them is not only is Sanders out, but the bad part to that is Highland Park has been phenomenal against the run all year long, primarily in the second half of football games. We've talked a lot this year about how Highland Park has been so good coming out of the locker room at halftime.
And they're averaging The Scots are averaging, Coach, defensively, allowing 3.2 points in the, 2.9 in the third quarter, 3.6 points per game allowed in the fourth quarter. So
you're
under
talking
a touchdown per game
exactly
in the second half. And
so the fact that the Scots have basically been able to accomplish making Denton Ryan one-dimensional is huge.
And you give a lot of credit. When I talked with Don Woods, hey, how do you guys make those adjustments? He says, well, it's not me. And he pointed to Darren Eason and Bobby Leidner and David Clark and said those guys up in the press box do a great job of spotting everything out, charting what we need to do, getting that information to me, and then translating that in the second half. And so here's Highland Park going to have to totally adjust what they do on the fly, but this is a really good coaching staff, and you got really smart players that are able to make this adjustment. So Highland Park has to feel really good about themselves defensively.
Yeah, you know, those coaches that you mentioned, the Leidners, the Eastons, you got Cade Melton, who's down on the field. He's an inside linebacker coach, a phenomenal coach. Toby Trotter, you know, again, that secondary, he really coaches up the secondary and the safeties primarily. Those guys have just done a tremendous job to accompany Don Woods. You know, it was huge for the Scots to come up there with that touchdown at the end of the half and then come up with a stop defensively. You saw the momentum they were able to go in with. And again, we talked on it. I mean, it was a half that was dominated by Highland Park, and you know that Denton Ryan has got to just be they've got to be tickled to death to be in the situation they're in right now with a tie game. But you can almost kind of feel that there's just not a whole lot of energy on their sideline. That's a huge hit to take by losing a guy like Spencer Sanders.
And you just cannot state enough what that does, just like you said, for the momentum, for the overall feeling that team has. That they came into the season, they came into this game saying, hey, it's all good because we've got Spencer Sanders, and they don't have Spencer Sanders anymore. So going to be really tough for Denton Ryan to adjust and have to play their game without him. Like we said, Tyreke Davis, though, you were very impressed with him, specifically on the defensive side there in the first half, and he's going to be the bell cow for Denton Ryan in the second half, and it's the Scots' job to slow him down.
Well, no, I'm anxious to see, you know, what kind of stamina that he's going to possess. I mean, you're talking about a young man who did not come off the field pretty much the whole first half, and they're going to have to feed him the ball in the second half, and he's going to have to run the ball effectively. Really, the script is kind of flipped a little bit here, Miles, in that, you know, Denton Ryan's going to have to try to control the clock to keep this Highland Park offense off the field.
So Highland Park will kick off here to begin the second half. It's been Cordray handling the kicking duties, and I'm pretty sure, Coach, that when Hennigan decided to defer to the second half, he would not have done that thinking he didn't have Spencer Sanders. So that backfired there on the Denton Ryan Raiders. And you're actually feeling pretty good about yourself, your Highland Park kicking off here to start the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. You're exactly right. They chose to defer, you know, the opening coin toss and kick the football to Highland Park, and I know they probably were wishing they would have flipped that a little bit now. Obviously, their offense is going to be on the field first, and if you're Highland Park, you got to, you know, you're perfectly fine with that. You get that defense right back out on the field, you know, that finished the first half with a sack by Turner Cox.
Turner Cox had 2 sacks there in the first half, following up on a 2-sack game last week as he just continues to stuff the stat sheet. He also had 2 tackles for loss in that game. We're waiting on a TV timeout here. Coach, on the other side of the bracket, Temple and Richmond Foster tied at halftime. And we didn't touch on this in the first half, but huge development in these 5A playoffs that mighty Manville went down. And people thought Manville, Coach, was better than any 6A team in the state. They thought they were better than the Allen Eagles, and they went down last week.
That just goes to show,
that's a huge advantage for whoever comes out of this game.
Absolutely agree, but I'll tell you, got to give credit to the Temple Wildcats. What a job by those guys to take down Manville. And, you know, I read a couple articles that said that they felt like Temple felt good about their chances, believe it or not. They're a talented bunch, but again, a tie ball game with Temple and Richmond Foster. That's going to be a good one, and it sets up for a tremendous state championship game for whoever wins this one here in Arlington.
And of course, that state championship game will be right here at AT&T Stadium. Highland Park hopes they're playing in it. And they've got 2 more quarters of football left, just 24 minutes, Coach, in some of these young guys' careers. And you can't underestimate the fire that puts in some of these guys when they realize, hey, if we don't get it done, this is the end. As it will be Cordray. Scots are blessed with 2 outstanding kickers. Mateo Cordray did a great job through the first couple weeks of the playoffs. And he'll be kicking it off here for Highland Park. Back deep, Tamar Butts. With 5 men on either side of Cordray. He is ready to kick it deep. And it's a pooch to the left side. And a good return set up here. Outstanding field position. Off the good return by Jalen Hurt.
Boy, he can go. He is a really, really quick young man. Scots have got to stay strong. And I say stay. I'll tell you, they really got hurt in the special teams, category, but they've, they cannot afford to give up big plays in that area. I think that they, again, they have forced here with the injury to Sanders, they've forced Denton Ryan to go one-dimensional and to run the football. As you see, they come out in that Wildcat set here for this opening play of the second half.
It's Jordan Rucker in at quarterback, who is not listed on our depth chart provided by Denton Ryan. As Rucker hands it off to Tyreke Davis, he's going to be brought down by Matt Gam and Bennett Brock, 2 of the captains for Highland Park. So what do you think the game plan is here for Don Woods facing this zone read attack, this Wildcat look?
Well, I mentioned it. They've done a great job all year long in the run game, but what they may do is bring an extra down lineman in there and put a hand on the ground to help stop the run. You see that they'll shift those linemen around and let those linebackers flow to make some plays.
Marshall Ballard is in the game at outside backer.
And that's exactly what they do. They go to the 4 down lineman look.
And they throw it complete right side. That's Dove to midfield. That's going to be good enough for a first down.
Tell you what, Jordan Rucker threw a pretty nice little ball right there. He stepped up and threw a strike.
That's Rucker's first completion of the season. Heck of a time to have it. And check that they're not moving the sticks here. It'll be 3rd down and inches. Haven't moved them yet. And it looks like Creed Gentry is going to go back in. As we told you earlier, Gentry has not played any meaningful snaps this year. And they're going to bring in a power package here, Will Denton Ryan. Still confused as to what the delay is here. There was no measurement. A lot of extended discussion over here on the near sideline, and finally they move the chains.
It's a first down.
That's the way we saw it live. And it's Rucker back in at quarterback. Here from the 49-yard line. And Rucker, the ball is on the ground.
That's what can happen right there. A guy that they have not worked on it in practice. Rucker is not, that mesh right there with the running back, that's one of those things where he was going to try to read it, and it just some confusion right there, and it's just one of those things. There's just no continuity with those 2 young men. Again, you got a running back in Tyreke Davis, who's used to having number 3 back there with him in the backfield.
If the Scots lost John Stephen Jones, they would have a ton of continuity at that quarterback position. Not a luxury that Ryan possesses. As they hand it to Davis, and he is swarmed in the backfield by Turner Cox and Luke Blanton.
There's those 2 men right there, 95 and 97. We talked about them in the pregame and the fact that they just each picked up an offer from Army to play football. And boy, if you're Army, you're going, hey, I'm telling you, we know what we're doing, boys.
I got a good chance to talk with the Denton Ryan broadcasters this week, and they said, oh, man, Tyreke Davis is a stud, and he's really going to be the guy to try and close out the game for Denton Ryan. I said, I don't know how well Denton Ryan's going to be able to run the ball, and they were skeptical of that, but I said this Highland Park defense is legit. As Rucker rolling to his right, he's going to want to run for it. He is not going to make it. It's going to be 3rd down and at least 5 upcoming.
4th down, I believe.
4th down.
Yep, that was 3rd and 12. I think they're going to probably punt the football and rely on that defense.
Sanders is also the punter. A nice stop there by Herring. Boy, he flashes a few times a game.
Well, there's that speed by the secondary we talked about. James Herring closes in a hurry. You've talked all year long that he arguably may be the fastest young man on this team.
And now that Urbanzic's out, he's the fastest guy on the field for Highland Park. Rucker is ready to punt it away.
Oh, he shanked
it's a
it.
Bad kick out of bounds. Scots had Alexander and Waters split. We'll see how far the official's going to run with that arm raised. All the way to the 30. He's still going. The 32-yard line is where the Scots will set up.
I know Coach Hennigan felt like he could at least pin them deep right there. And again, we talked about the fact that Sanders has handled the punting, and they haven't done a lot of it all year long, but he's handled the punting duties for Denton Ryan. And so it just affects him in so many ways.
Coach, you can get a good look at that Randy Allen huddle right there, and Randy as calm as ever as his Scots looking to punch their ticket to the state title game. It's Jones in the backfield with Paxton Alexander, 3 receivers to his right. Gets it from J.D. Beverly. They hand it off to Paxton Alexander through the first line of the defense.
My goodness.
Solid gain there on first as they got a good push at the end of that play.
See, there's that tough running we keep talking about with Paxton. Just when you think that he needs to, be out on the edge and kind of bouncing around. But I'll tell you right now, he's showing the physicality that he can possess if need be.
They've got him listed at 155. Actually got to broadcast a lot of games, lacrosse games last year with Paxton as my broadcast partner. And I can tell you, I'm not sure he's 155. I stood next to him many times. Not a big guy, but he is getting it done today. 2nd down and 5. Jones on the draw. Has good blocks down the field. John Stephen Jones has a 1st down and more. Sidesteps a man. He's still on his feet. Pushed out. Late flag going to come in. That'll be 15 extra yards against Denton Ryan.
What a call right there by Coach Randy Allen. Just a perfect call at the perfect time. He's got a Denton Ryan defense that's really trying to get after John Stephen in the backfield. They've been great at it all year long. Great job of blocking out on the edge, and they're going to pick up an extra 15 after a big-time run by John Stephen Jones.
And Jones, it looked like he was going to go out of bounds and then stayed in, picked up a key block down the field. Let's see what our white hat has to say.
Personal foul, late hit, out of bounds, number 4, 15 yards out of the run, 1st down.
That's Jalen Hurt, one of their many two-way players that Ryan possesses.
Well,
look
what
about
a block
right here.
What a block by Hudson Wood.
It was Alexander that got another one down the field. So a couple good blocks. The Ryan fans don't like this late hit call, and I don't blame them. Hurt really did not do much to Jones there, but we'll take it as the Scots have it at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. They go with a hard count. You go check with me. Look over to Schumann, Weber, and Gibbs. And they want to run the option. They pitch it to Alexander. He's got space down the right sideline. Sidesteps a man. Be close to another Scott first.
Boy, just a great play call right there and very well executed. And, John Stephen, you see they're going immediately after him and just leaves the pitch man wide open.
And right there, as was the case a lot this year, they run that option after getting to the line with a different play called. They look over to the sideline as those coaches identify a favorable look for that option play. And they get a solid pickup of 9 at 2nd down and 1 for the Scots. Well, Jones going to look over at the sideline again.
Denton Ryan in a coverage 0 look right here. They've got no safety.
Saw a lot of this with Lake Ridge. Jones looking to throw. Left side, Paxton Alexander's wide open. He's going to walk in for a Scott touchdown. His 3rd of the game.
Thing of beauty, brother. It's an absolute thing of beauty right there. Coach Allen with just a perfect play call in that situation. And what a game for Paxton Alexander. A game that he will never, ever forget. Just perfectly executed. You get a team that's going to bring heat right there. He leaks out of the backfield. John Stevens fired up and for good reason.
Jack Kosmetsky over there providing some senior leadership. And what a perfect start to the 3rd quarter for Highland Park.
Exactly what you needed. The defense set the tone by getting the stop.
Giffen snaps it back to Tui. And Hubbard tacks on the extra point. Hubbard got knocked down. No call. It's 24-17 Scots.
How about this drive, Miles? 4 plays, 68 yards, a minute and 15. So that momentum we talked about going in at halftime, the defense comes out. Again, you can tell Denton Ryan is just defeated right now. I mean, they're out. I see guys on the sideline. They're on one knee. They just look defeated, and they know that their leader has been taken out of this game. And, I mean, the Scots come out, get the stop, and then they strike quickly with 4 plays and 68 yards.
And, Coach, if you were to tell me Highland Park is going to be facing a Spencer Sanderless Denton Ryan team with a 1-touchdown lead, and that's all they were able to get the rest of the game, I might feel good about their chances, but here they are moving the ball very well on offense. It looks like they're poised to put up more points as this thing goes along. As we're in this TV timeout, let's head down to Paige Schnorbach, who has more from the sideline.
Miles, as we watched Highland Park get a touchdown there, I was watching the defense, and they were having an extremely passionate meeting with the coaches yelling at them, I need you right now. This is y'all's time to get out there, because finally Highland Park is up, and right now it's up to the defense to keep it that way.
Thanks, Paige, and she brings up a great point with how fiery that defensive coaching staff is for Don Woods. And this is what they dream about, these defenders here with a chance to seal a trip to the state championship game for Highland Park.
Now's the time, brother. Now's the time. You got to go out and you got to get a stop. You've got a team that's on, you've got them on their heels. You've got them reeling a little bit. Again, they feel like all the wind has been taken out of their sails, and the Scots feel like they've got all the momentum in the world, and for good reason. And now is the time where you got to come out and get a stop.
Coach, I'll go back to something you said in the open. Denton Ryan has not trailed since week 3. So this is uncharted territory for them.
And that was a huge key for this Highland Park coaching staff, is they knew that, they recognized that, and they were curious to see how they would respond. They haven't had to respond since the 3rd week of the season by being down in a game. So we're going to see here real quickly how well they can do that and what kind of pride and character Denton Ryan shows.
Highland Park is now outgaining Denton Ryan 262 to 68. Total domination on the stat sheet as Cordray drills it deep. It'll be fielded by Tamar Butts, coming left to right. Big open field tackle there by Ryan Cox, a future star at Highland Park.
Well, those Cox brothers just continue to make plays, and you said it, Ryan Cox is going to step in next year in that middle linebacker position and really control things on this defense next year. But what he's done this year is come in and made plays when his number's been called in the special teams category and also on defense. He's a stud. You're exactly right.
So Highland Park's defense allowing just 13.5 points a game on the season, with a chance to play now with a lead, as Jordan Rucker is back out there at quarterback next to Tyreke Davis. Scott shift up front. Rucker has it, throwing, and that was well short-armed. That was closer to being caught by Holzenbach than anybody else.
I'm actually a little bit shocked that they're even trying to throw the football with him. You can just tell they're just completely and totally out of sync. You obvious that he has just not done that, not just in the game, but at practice. This guy's listed as a cornerback, not a quarterback, a cornerback. He's a defensive guy, and give him credit. He's giving it a shot right now, but I would think that they would try to feed 21 as much as they can.
Let's see if they give it to him here on 2nd and 10. They do. Tyreke Davis has nowhere to go. Swallowed up by that Scott defense. Luke Blanton makes another play.
And that's the key. See, they've kind of made them into a one-dimensional team right now, Miles, and the Scots have excelled against the run all year long. Those guys that put their hand on the ground, Hammock, Cox, and Blanton have just done a phenomenal job, and then those linebackers are able to come in and make plays. When you run this 3-4 look, those guys up front they've got to maintain or eat up those blocks.
3rd down and 9. Rucker in the shotgun, surveys the field, looking to go deep, and that's going to be pass interference against Highland Park. And Coach, that was actually a good play by Zach Foltz. Did not get beat deep, and right there looked like potentially Douglas had a step.
Yeah, they're going to get him on an interference call. That's one of those, I think the Scots are hoping for an uncatchable pass, but I don't think it was. I think that's a play that he probably could have made, and it was just contact down the field beyond that 5 or 10 yard mark.
At the high school level, you're giving up 15 yards from the line of scrimmage, and that could have been a touchdown right there
Defensive pass
Douglas.
interference. They penalized 15 yards from the spot. First down.
Well, the referee just said from the spot. That is not how it works in high school.
That's penalized 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
And he knows the rules.
There you go.
And the NFL, that would be a much more damaging penalty.
And that's a big play there for Denton Ryan. Again, just sometimes little things like that. A penalty against the other team can at least give you a little fighting chance. That's exactly what they needed to keep their offense on the field.
So a 1st and 10 here for the Raiders. As they put a man in motion, and they're going to give it to Davis, and he is going nowhere. Turner Cox immediately into the backfield. He is dominating this football game.
You're exactly right, Miles. He is absolutely dominating. I mean, that's a young man who is going to go play football at University of North Texas, who is preparing to play in a bowl game right now. And Turner Cox is he is a man amongst boys on that line right now.
But Turner has been the best player on the field today, and I'm not sure it's even close.
But, you know, think about it. Turner did not play in that Waxahachie game. That's a game that Highland Park lost, but that just goes to show what a difference maker he is.
2nd down and 14. Rucker wants to throw right side. It's going to be incomplete. Walzell had a step. He nearly picked it off.
Well, he read the eyes right there of the receiver, and he stepped in there on that stop route and hit it. I'm telling you, if he makes that play, that's 6 the other way.
And Rucker stared down that receiver the entire way. It was Dove. And just the nuances of playing the quarterback position just not there for Jordan Rucker.
And here they are in a 3rd and long situation. The Scots have them exactly where they want them. You got to be aware of any type of a screen or draw right here on 3rd and long.
3rd down and 14. Rucker, a straight drop, looking to go deep. Great coverage on the back end by Stewart, but it's hauled in by Douglas.
You know, that there was nothing, you know, pretty about that play other than the catch. I mean, that was just a drop back and throw it to your best player on the field right now. And he just goes up and makes a play. George he turned at just the wrong moment to try to find that ball. He did turn his head in order to not pick up the pass interference, but that's just a stud receiver right there making a play.
So just a tip of the cap right there to the Texas Tech-bound Gabriel Douglas as they're looking to throw once again. Rucker breaks a tackle. He is not going to break the tackle of Matt Gamm, the 3-star recruit headed to Virginia. So a short gain there on 1st.
You know, Rucker is a guy that he at least makes you stay honest because he can run the ball. Obviously, he is going to be a run-first quarterback, but a good job right there of Matt Gammett coming up and making the play.
Herring helped clean it up as well. It's going to be 2nd down and 7 here from the 27-yard line.
How about that sure-handed tackle there by Matt Gamm?
Hard to get away from big number 94 in blue. It's Rucker looking to throw again. That's complete out in the left flat. That's Douglas still on his feet. And Douglas knocked out of bounds. He wants a late hit call. Not going to get it. One of the Scots flopping there. That was Holzenbeck, I think.
Holzenbeck trying to get away with one right there.
You just got to have a chuckle at that.
I'm sorry. That was funny. Yeah, Max is a great young man, and he was trying to get a little
competitor.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a great block out there on the edge initially. Yeah, and I think Scots may have got away with one right there.
Gabriel Douglas flexing his muscles on this series. It's another 1st and 10 for Denton Ryan. Rucker, play action, throwing it near side. He's going to be absolutely swarmed. Alex Walzell is playing a terrific game today.
He's playing a heck of a game. A guy that we haven't talked a whole lot about it, but we should be because he, again, is a guy that's mixed in there with O'Neal and George at the corner position. And, boy, he is playing a heck of a game right now.
That's the 2nd big play on the series for Walzell. One of a couple Walzell brothers that have come through this program at Highland Park playing in the secondary. 2nd and 13 for Rucker. Scott showed pressure up the gut. Rucker wants to throw right side. It's caught. Touchdown, Denton Ryan.
Well, what a job right there by Rucker. You got to give him a lot of credit. That's a big-time answer, and they did show that heart and character that I talked about to come back. They were aided by a big penalty, a big pass interference penalty. And I'll tell you what, that's a really nice job there by Denton Ryan to come back and score a touchdown whenever their backs were really against the wall.
That was number 13, Jimmy Love, the senior wideout. And, Coach, when Highland Park had him 3rd and long in their own zone, it looked like this thing might be over early. But Highland Park not out of the woods yet. And that extra point is up and good. 10 plays, 84 yards, 4:27 it took off the clock. The big play was the long strike to Gabriel Douglas.
Well, I'll tell you what it did is it gave the confidence back to Denton Ryan, and specifically to number 11. Give him credit, Jordan Rucker. I mean, his confidence level did nothing but increase. That pass interference penalty was huge, because if they don't get that one, they're coming off the field. And again, you know, the momentum would have really, really been on the side of Highland Park. But they get the penalty, and then he throws the deep ball that Douglas just goes up and makes a play on. And give credit right there to Denton Ryan.
Big play on the long catch by Gabriel Douglas as he was able to get behind George Stewart. And this is the thing about Ryan. This is what we said in the open. It's not just the Spencer Sanders show. Douglas, of course, headed to Texas Tech. Tyreke Davis headed to UNT to play running back. And on that series, it was really Douglas that did the heavy lifting to get them down the field before Jimmy Love finished it off with the touchdown.
That little subtle little pump fake that excuse me, that's Rucker gave is really what kind of froze the Highland Park defense and allowed Jimmy Love to get behind them for the score.
So 24 all.
It's what we expected, Miles. We expected a great game. Now, I will tell you, I did not anticipate there being, 20-plus points scored by both teams.
Me neither.
That's a little shocking. I thought we'd have another 17-13, 17-10, maybe 14-13 game.
People were asking me all week what kind of score I expected, and that's what I said, 2017, something like that. And here we are at 24 all with 15 minutes left to play. Boy, what a great atmosphere it is, not just for the players and the broadcasters up here, but terrific atmosphere for these fans here at AT&T Stadium. A real treat to be here week after week. As the Scots have Paxton Alexander deep, flanked by Ryan Waters and JT Dooley. And it'll be Waters fielding it from his own 11-yard line. Ryan Waters, he's into the open field and brought down there at the 27-yard line. A terrific basketball player for Highland Park, as David Peeler told me he can't get the cleats off fast enough for them to get him back on the hardwood.
Well, a good play made right there by number 1, Randy Gray, a cornerback.
He's their best
Ryan.
DB.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make that play, that's going to spring Ryan Waters for a pretty nice little return.
So, Coach, how do the Scots approach this offensive series?
Exactly like they have been. Coach Allen's got all sorts of wrinkles up his sleeve, and I'll tell you, I certainly can't believe that he's used them all yet. But he has just called a brilliant game here today, and I think they do exactly what they have been. Just continue to, again, show the play action, run the screens, run the draws. John Stephen has been on point, which we said he needed to be in order for the Scots to be successful. He's been really good here today.
We talked a lot about the game-wrecking ability of Ernest Brown IV, and he really did flash a little bit there in the first quarter, but he's been very quiet since then as the Scots have really neutralized him.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, early in the game, I thought, boy, he is going to be a handful, and he still may be. I mean, he is a guy the Scots have really handled well. Aside for the first few possessions of the first half, they've really done a nice job of neutralizing him and really going away from him and baiting him into running upfield and then running the screens and the draws behind him.
Denton Ryan had more yards on that possession than they did in the entire game coming in, now up to 137 total. As the Scots offense waiting for the red hat to get off the field, and we're ready to play some football. There were 3:43 left in the third quarter.
Jones rolling to his right. Now he's going to keep it. John Stephen Jones going to scamper out of bounds after a solid first down pickup, and that's one thing they've really done a good job of, is staying on schedule.
They like something over there on the right-hand side of the field, or on the right-hand side of the line. You know, Miles, we talked about Spencer Sanders and his ability to run the football. How about John Stephen Jones here today running the football very effectively? He has been a real weapon with his legs here this afternoon.
6 carries for 30 yards for JS. 2nd down and 4 for the Scots. Alexander, the lone back. Jones throwing right side. That's got to be interference, and there comes the flag.
Yeah,
Jack Tui being guarded by Randy Gray. We were just singing his praises, but that was way too much contact.
Great route run right there by Jack Tui, and you're right. That was a no-brainer.
Defensive pass interference. The ball, first down at the spot of the foul.
So another first down for Highland Park.
Yeah, Gray was just all over his back.
Hard to complain about that one if you're Denton Ryan. And a tie game here, 24-all, after the big answer drive by the Raiders. It's Jones with one running back in the backfield. Jones rolling to his left, looking to throw. Has a wide open JT Dooley, but it's off his hands and incomplete.
Something you're just not going to see hardly ever. I mean, JT Dooley ran a great route. John Stephen got outside the pocket, a great play call. Yeah, just not going to see that very often at all by JT Dooley. Just a simple pitch and catch, and didn't look it in.
JT, a very fundamental wide receiver for obvious reasons. Second down and 10 here for the Scots from their own 38. Jones surveys the defense. Now he wants the ball. It's that counter play to Paxton Alexander with space. Paxton Alexander has another Scott first down to midfield.
See, that's what they've been able to really do effectively, is to neutralize the speed and the power of Denton Ryan. Is run those draws, those counters. You know, the misdirection stuff has been so good here today for Highland Park.
Paxton Alexander continues to churn out what's been a game to remember. 15 carries now, 75 yards, 6 catches, 68 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 3 total scores for Paxton, just a junior. 1st and 10 for Highland Park from right at midfield on the far right hash. Jones has 3 receivers to the wide side. They give it to Alexander up the middle. Paxton Alexander has another Scott first down, add 15 more to the ledger for the junior.
Beautiful run right there. First of all, great job by the big fellas up front. J.D. Beverly picks up a nice block. You see Harrison Mursky and Shellmeyer downfield, but it was the cut, the initial cut right there that you see by Paxton Alexander that is able to spring that run.
Running behind a good block right there by Gray Giddens. He's the real leader of the offensive line for Highland Park. 1st and 10 from the 36. Jones uses the hard count. Now they go check with me. They've done that a lot in this game, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Jones going to hand it to Alexander once again. And this time he'll have a shorter gain up the middle to the 34-yard line. But they've continued, Coach. You talked about the draws, the counters, the screens, all those things. They still have kept them honest with enough body blows on those inside runs.
Absolutely, and that's what you've got to do. You know, we talked about that in the pregame. It was a must for Highland Park to run the football well here today, and they have done just that, but they're sticking with it.
126 rushing yards coming into this play for Highland Park.
When we talk about them sticking with it, what I mean by that is they're staying with those tough, zoned, you know, up the middle type runs.
Right at the teeth of that Ryan defense as Jones dropped the ball. Going to have to make a play here as he throws it out of bounds and avoided a potential disaster.
Yeah, good job right there by John Stephen of just getting rid of that football. Thomas Wilson, the third linebacker, was really bearing down on him and had a tough exchange. He didn't handle it cleanly.
He took a hit at the end of the play. There was wincing in pain, but the one thing you got to say about John Stephen is he is tough. 3rd down and 8, probably 4-down territory here from the Scots from their 34-yard line of Denton Ryan. Straight drop for Jones.
Now he steps up, trying to make something happen. John Stephen gonna sling it. JT Dooley couldn't haul it in at the 19-yard line.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting play call right here. They are at their own, Denton Ryan's 33-yard line. I think it's obviously going to be 4-down territory right here. I think you're just outside of the range of Hubbard.
Terrific play right there by Jalen Hurt, able to get an arm in, deflect that one away from JT Dooley.
I think JT, if he just maybe comes back a few more steps to the ball, he's able to make that play. He kind of sat down, waited on it to get there. That allowed Jalen Hurt to come up and make the play.
It's tied 24 all, 1:17 left here in the third quarter.
Scots are going to have to call a timeout.
4th down and 8 for the Scots. And they're going to get the play off. It's Jones. Nope, they did not.
No, Coach Allen, he recognized it and got the timeout. And I like that because that thing was didn't look good from the get-go.
Highland Park's first timeout in the second half called before the snap. 4th down.
Coach, you can see John Stephen wincing a little bit there in pain. He took a big hit last week here against Mansfield Legacy.
1:17 on the clock. 1:17.
Let's head down to Paige, who has an update from the field level.
Thanks, Miles. I just wanted to tell you that I was hanging with the defense while the offense is on there, and these boys are so into the game, it's almost hard for them to focus on their coaches. They kept turning around, looking at the screen. They want to see what happens. But what the coaches were telling them is we want 3 and outs, and that's it. Their standards aren't lowering, no matter how tight this game is. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Paige. Coach, this defense going to be called upon here as this game goes on, and even though they gave up that drive, they're midway through the third, they still have to feel really good about the game they played defensively.
Oh, they've been phenomenal. They really have. Had their backs against the wall on numerous occasions. They've played great, but this is what you expect in a semifinal game. You know, it certainly didn't feel like you were going to be able to run away from these guys. They're just they're too talented. What a play this is right here in this game, and I cannot wait to see what Coach Allen has up his sleeve.
4th and 8, a 2-by-2 set here for the Scots. Rare on this day. Alexander, the lone running back, as Jones goes with the hard count. Now he puts the mouthpiece in. He's ready for the football. And whistles blow. It's going to be a false start against the Scots.
Yeah, I think they're going to get one of those right outside receivers,
false
possibly
start,
2.
Offense, number 2.
Alexander.
4th down.
Does this change the play call here for the Scots? So they want to quick kick it.
That's going to be a quick kick situation. That's a definitive, yeah. You see Fain come in. I think you'll see John Stephen take a few steps back, and they're going to rely on this defense, and hopefully John Stephen can pin them deep.
JS has been outstanding punting the football this year. 40 yards a boot, 5 inside the 20. He dropped the ball. He's going to get sacked. The ball is loose. It's still loose. Denton Ryan's got it, and they'll take over at the 40-yard line. So a productive drive for Highland Park is stifled.
It started right there with the false start. Again, I think they had something up their sleeve there on that 4th and 8, but when they backed them up to 4th and 13, that really put them in a tough situation, and John Stephen just not able. Again, here we go again, special teams. Yeah, just didn't catch the football. It was a good snap, but I'll tell you, he was not going to have a lot of time at all to get that football off. I think he recognized that.
When he got it, he got hit by Toby Birch. Birch has had a monster game. Number 7 there for Denton Ryan. He forced the fumble earlier on the fumble return for the touchdown for Denton Ryan. He also blocked the punt at the 10-yard line. Snap was good. Jones just couldn't handle it. And here comes quarterback Jordan Rucker again, as Sanders, if you're just now joining us, is out for the game with a knee injury. Rucker throws it right side.
Whew.
Great tackle there by James Herring at the 45-yard line.
There is that junior safety who has just been a stud all year, coming up and making a big-time play. And he shot through there in a hurry to come make that play.
Since Rucker's been in the game, Coach, they really haven't even tried Tyreke Davis that much.
Tell you what, now that I've seen throwing it around a little bit, he throws a nice football, and I think they feel confident with him to do so. They're going to try to get the football in these receivers' hands as much as they can.
3 receivers to the left here for Rucker. Scott still have the box stat. They throw it left side. That's going to be incomplete. Way over the head of the intended target. I believe that was Douglas.
This is, and I know we talk a lot about key plays. This one is big time. This is a huge play right here, because if the Scots can get off the field again, on this third down, I think you're in a definitive area where they would punt the football. This is a big-time play here for the Highland Park defense.
Denton Ryan converted on 2 third downs on their last scoring drive. Jordan Rucker, listed at cornerback, drops back to pass, looking to go deep. And that will be incomplete. More good coverage there by Walzell. It looked like potentially that Dove had a step, but the ball was not good enough.
Yeah, it was really nice coverage there by Walzell, but you're right, Dove had a little bit of a step, but that football was underthrown, and he just didn't have a prayer to come back to it. Great coverage there by Walzell, and that's a big stop for the Scots.
Rucker back to punt again. His last kick was very poor. It went out of bounds after less than 20 yards. Alexander and Waters are split back to return. And Rucker, end over end kick, will be fielded by Waters at the 15-yard line. Makes a man miss.
Just nothing
and
there.
He'll go down at the 17. Good coverage right there by the Ryan Raiders.
Yeah, that's good coverage right there by Ryan. Looked like Ryan wanted to try to go back across the field. That's where the return was set up, and just wasn't anything there. Boy, he was fortunate to hang on to that ball. Almost scored it out of there.
So now just 11 seconds left here in the third quarter. 24 all. Highland Park's got the football here at their own 18-yard line. And just a good job right there by Ryan Waters to secure the football and not fumble it. So, Coach, one play here for the Scott offense, at least one play. And then on to the fourth quarter. I think the Scots would take it if you told them this was their situation here in the 5th round of the playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah. You're talking about a team that's undefeated here in Denton Ryan. Very talented bunch, great defensively. The Scots, again, I think, they would be tickled to death to be in this situation with the football in their hands.
And they split Jones out wide again. It's Alexander behind center. They snap it to him. Alexander still on his feet. Paxton spinning off a defender at the 27. He continues his monster day, and that will do it for the third quarter. Highland Park and Denton Ryan locked at 24 as we head to the fourth for the right to go to the state title game. We'll be back after a few messages. You're watching Highland Park football, presented by Game On Sports. Minutes of football to decide who goes to the state championship game, and Highland Park's got it at their own 29-yard line, 1st and 10. If you're just now joining us, Jacob Urbanzik for Highland Park now out of the game. Highland Park is down their 2 leading receivers and their 2 leading rushers for the season, all out. But on the other side, Denton Ryan lost one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Spencer Sanders went down in the second quarter. Now, Denton Ryan really had not moved the ball up until the point that Sanders went out of the game. They had 51 yards.
Miles, they've been more effective, quite frankly, with Jordan Rucker at quarterback. I mean, it absolutely no disrespect at all to Spencer Sanders, and I would imagine he could have probably got himself in the flow of the game. The Highland Park defense really did a nice job in the first half versus him. But you got to give credit to Jordan Rucker. He has done a nice job to keep Denton Ryan in this game with the loss of Spencer Sanders.
Highland Park will play, rather the winner of this game will play the winner of Temple and Richmond Foster in the state title game next week right here at AT&T Stadium. But 12 minutes of football will decide it. Alexander in the backfield next to Jones. John Stevens going to step up and run it. And he will be upended there at the 38-yard line.
Don't question his toughness.
The draws have been absolutely phenomenal, whether it's been to Paxton or, that delayed quarterback draw with John Stephen Jones running the football has been great. Coach Allen definitely feels like he has something there. Those 4 down linemen are accustomed to really trying to get after the quarterback, and the Scotties have found something in that area.
They're out rushing Denton Ryan 168-35. And they hand it to Alexander on the draw. Bounces off his own man, and he'll slide forward to the 40. That'll be good enough to move the chains. Coach, the common denominator, whoever's got the ball, whoever's catching the ball, has been this Highland Park offensive line.
Been phenomenal. Yeah, they really have. They've done a great job of holding up front against a very, very talented defensive front for Denton Ryan. Give credit to the big fellas for the Scots.
5 wide look here as they motion Alexander. Jones surveys the field, throws over the middle, off the hand of Ryan Waters on the post route.
You wondered when Coach Allen was going to take that shot down the field, and Waters had a step. It was just a bit, just outside of the reach of number 19.
And Tamar Butts had Ryan Waters lined up had he hauled that pass in. Of course, without the presence of Cade Sawstad, it's much more difficult for Highland Park to throw the ball down the field. And that's the strength of this Denton Ryan team. Also, you got to protect long enough to throw it down the field. 2nd and 10 here from the 40. Jones has JT Dooley on the drag. JT makes a man miss. He's across midfield. He's going to step out there at the 44-yard line as Highland Park continues to move the ball effectively here in this one now that they're over 300 offensive yards.
Once again, a beautiful play call. That is such a difficult play to defend, but what has to happen first is that offensive line has got to hold up, and they do just that. Great job by the big fellas of giving time for that play to develop. And JT, who has a ton of speed, comes across the field and makes a big play for the Scots.
Jalen Hurt, who is one of the two-way stars for Denton Ryan, is down on the Highland Park side of the field, right in front of the Denton Ryan bench there at the 47-yard line.
Looks like we may have some sort of a cramping issue with him.
Well, Coach, they play so many of these guys both ways. Jalen Hurt, Tamar Butts, Toby Branch, certainly Tyreke Davis. We haven't seen Davis leave the field, I don't think, at all, save for special teams. We came into this game telling you Denton Ryan had won 27 of 28 games. And that only loss coming to Allen, who some people consider to be the best program in the nation.
That was a tough loss for them last year, a tough matchup for them. Again, these two programs, Denton Ryan and Highland Park, both dropped down from the 6A level, and Denton Ryan unfortunately got matched up with Allen there in the playoffs. That was a tough matchup, but they played with them.
So that's the kind of opponent that the Scots are playing today. Came into the playoffs as the second-ranked team in the state, only Manville ranked ahead of them. And Manville is out. People said Denton Ryan was the definitive favorite, but they are on the ropes. Here with 10:33 remaining, Highland Park has it in Ryan territory. Jones and Alexander in the backfield. They hand it to Alexander, and he was going to be swallowed up by big number 99, Ernest Brown IV.
You know, Harrison Mursky has done a great job all day long in just a severe, mismatch with him and Ernest Brown. Harrison's done a tremendous job of holding up. He's given up a ton of size, but I'll tell you what, right there, Ernest Brown showed why he is one of the most sought-after recruits in the nation.
He's got about 50 D1 offers, does Brown. Headed to Northwestern.
He looks the part. When you watch
He
definitely looks the part.
Shifting up front for Ryan. Scots go play action. Jones has time over the middle. A wide open receiver. That's JT Dooley. Dooley has been huge for the Scots today. Another chain mover there for the Scots.
The same play they ran on that last possession where JT Dooley just goes and finds that soft spot. Great job right there by Gray Giddens of laying a key block. And this time JT makes the catch. He dropped the last one, but he assures the catch right there and picks up a big first down.
5 receptions for 60 yards for JT.
Just been a beautifully called game by Coach Randy Allen.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Absolute,
The play calling
has been on point.
Highland Park has it now 1st and 10. They want to run the option. They pitch it to Alexander. Tried to spin back up, and he got licked right there by Tyreke Davis.
Yeah, he got lit up pretty good right there. Good to see him bounce up from that. It was nice just to get back to the line of scrimmage. I think his own man may have laid the biggest hit on him in Shellmeyer.
Well, Shellmeyer's a big boy.
He is.
Mr. Shellmeyer told me that they like to get the family pack at Wings and More, and everybody else is lucky if they get one. You can put away some food. 2nd and 10 for the Scots. They're already in field goal range. They could take the lead on this trip. They hand it to Alexander. He's got some room. Paxton Alexander still on his feet inside the 10 as he dives toward the 7. It'll be 1st and goal, Scots.
What a run by Paxton Alexander. And Miles, you said it earlier, this is the game of his life. He is playing his heart out. I mean, look at the young man with the shiftiness, and he's picking up some key yards. I mean, that play right there didn't look like there was going to be a whole lot there. And Paxton is just, I mean, he is a game-changing young man.
We said it last week. We knew that Paxton Alexander would be a star at Highland Park. We just didn't know it would be right now. But Urbanzik, as well as Kosmetsky out. Jack Fain's in the game now for the Scots. They give it to Alexander once again. Up the middle, Paxton Alexander showing the power as well, Coach.
Boy, just what a run. I mean, what a run, and a great block, as you see right there by Jack Fain. What a great block by number 6.
And the Scots bring in their extra beef here, Turner Cox.
Well, it's just the vision.
And Matt Gam.
The vision that Alexander possesses in the shiftiness. That's what's incredible, is he can stop on a dime and reverse his course.
2nd and goal here for Highland Park from the 2-yard line. The jumbo set. They give it to Alexander. And Paxton Alexander has a Scott touchdown.
How about that for the offensive line, just coming off the ball, and once again, the Highland Park Scots answer with an unbelievable drive. Another championship drive there by HP, and Paxton Alexander, my goodness, what a day for you, young man.
This Lone Star team came in, this Ryan defense came in averaging just 14.5 points given up per game.
Well,
a season high of 34 against Frisco Lone Star, and Scots are making them look average. Key extra point here, Giffen to Tui, and Hubbard splits it to make it 31-24, 11 plays, 82 yards, just under 5 minutes on the drive. As Highland Park, Coach, would you call that a championship drive?
That's championship material right there. And I'll tell you what, Ryan Gibbs, running back coach for Highland Park, has got to just be on cloud 9 for what he has been able to accomplish with these guys. I mean, injury after injury, and here you are with Paxton Alexander, who was out for 3, 4, 5 weeks with an elbow injury. I mean, what a job by Coach Gibbs to get these guys prepared for this very moment. And then, hey, let's not forget Grayson Wells and James Farnsley in this offensive line job. I mean, what a great job by these guys. They are, again, they're facing a defensive front that has just manhandled people all year long. And lastly, let's talk about Coach Randy Allen and the play calling. Just an incredible day of play calling. And let's hope that the Scotties can find a way to seal this thing.
Highland Park leads at 31-24. Paige Schnorbach has more from the sideline.
Thanks, guys. It's games like these and moments like these where you see what players are truly made of. Prior to that, John House was going to each and every player and telling them they were capable of making the big plays. Clearly, from what we just saw, that's true. And now what he's telling them is the one word to remember is finish. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Paige. And that is the word right now for Highland Park, Coach. They have Denton Ryan on the ropes, the #1 team remaining in the state of Texas, and Highland Park is 7 minutes and 24 seconds from booking their trip to the state title game.
Yeah, it starts here. You've got to go down and make a play in special teams. No, this is the time. You got to go down. You got to make a play. And I'm telling you, Miles, if it's me, I'm not so sure. If the football happens to go out of bounds, I don't think it's the end of the world here.
I've been saying that for a month now, that why not just kick it out of bounds? They get it at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and make their offense make plays. Right now, these guys that are back deep are their playmakers, and they can, make some things happen in a hurry here. So, again, you got to make a good, solid tackle here in special teams. This is a huge kick. And then, get your D out there on the field to make some plays for you. They've done it all year long.
It's Tamar Butts and Jalen Hurts back to receive. I believe Douglas is back there as well, as Cordray swings the leg. And that will be hauled in at about the 5-yard line. Good special teams coverage by Highland Park. Noble Nash, Junior Dorba, one of the best overall athletes on the team. And then it was Ryan Cox helping to clean him up. That was number 13, Jimmy Love, the touchdown maker from earlier.
You can't overlook that right there. I mean, that's what you got to do. Those are playmakers for Denton Ryan, and a great job. Oh, what a hit right there by Ryan Cox.
Connor Stone also helping out.
But those guys, they understand what their role is, and they're going out there and they're performing.
Tell you what, though, Ryan Cox, if it wasn't for John House and Bennett Brock, we'd be looking at that guy as one of the stars of your defense. It's hard to take those two players off the field there at middle backer. Coach, what do you think Don Woods is telling his troops here on defense?
Whatever he's saying, he's always found a way to have the right answers. But I would imagine, right now he's making sure that these young men all are focused at the task at hand. Obviously, he wants them to, make sure we continue to execute the game plan. Don't get your eyes right now. Now's not the time to get your eyes set on next week. It's a focus on the here and now and execute the game plan. Nothing, again, no stupid penalties, making sure that you watch the football, you don't jump off sides, things of that nature. I got to believe that they're going to continue to show, the different wrinkles where they'll go to a 3-man down line, to a 4-man down line. But again, you don't want to give up the big play. That's one of the big things, is not giving up the big play, because right now, that's probably Denton Ryan's best hope for offense, is to just try to throw it as far as they can down the field.
And that's what we saw earlier, the touchdown drive they had with Rucker in the game
was that big pass to Douglas. So you got to think in the secondary, the key is don't get beat deep, don't let somebody behind you.
That's right.
And make Douglas execute throws all the way down the field.
That's exactly right. Again, if you give up the little, 5-yard, 3 to 4, 5-yard little, hitch routes, I think you're okay with that. Just don't give up the big throw down the field.
It's Jordan Rucker, once again listed at cornerback, the junior, not on our depth chart for Denton Ryan, back in at QB. And they hand it to Tyreke Davis, and he is going nowhere. Coach, the Scots have shut down one of the better backs in the area to the tune of 12 carries for 28 yards. And when I was talking with those UNT, those Denton broadcasters, they really thought, oh, Tyreke Davis is going to have a big day. I said, not so fast, because this Scott defense is legit, and it's shown up again here today.
Well, this is the time where if the Scots can get a stop, they've got an opportunity to really try to milk that clock and run it down. They've done a great job of doing that on offense and running a lot of clock time. So big-time spot in this football game.
2nd and 7. It's Rucker looking to throw. Now he escapes right, trying to cut back.
Nothing
He's going to
there.
go down.
Oh.
No, he's still on his feet.
Wow.
I thought Rucker went down back at about the 15-yard line.
What a great individual performance, just to not take a loss right there by Rucker. Really athletic maneuver.
Thought Luke Blanton had him for sure about right here.
Oh.
And somehow he was able to stay up. What balance before House and Brock able to clean it up. But it'll be a 3rd down and 7, and a key one for Denton Ryan.
Here we go.
Head coach Dave Hennigan without his signal caller Spencer Sanders out for the game. And they throw it left side. It's complete. That's Douglas.
That's a hold. My.
Douglas not going to get the first. Well short. They just haven't had a whole lot more than that on offense, these little quick screens. And I agree with you. I thought Stewart got held out there, but what tackling by Highland Park. And it looks like Denton Ryan is going to punt it back to the Scots as they bring their special teams unit out.
They have to. Again, this is a one-score game right now. Denton Ryan has all their timeouts. I think this is a definitive punt situation, but again, a key punt right here with your backup punter in there.
Sanders also handles the punting duties. They're going to fake it here as they swing it to Rucker on the outside. Rucker jumped the football. Highland Park's going to get it at the 30-yard line. Already leading by 7.
Unbelievable. They've done, I'm telling you, just a tremendous job of the coaching staff recognizing that that could happen. I'm sure that they have seen that play run by Denton Ryan at some point in time this year. They haven't defended perfectly. The football comes out, and here they are Denton Ryan has severely got their backs against the wall. The Scotties have them on the ropes, and they've got an opportunity to put this game, in the books right here on this drive.
It was Marshall Hammock that knocked it out, number 99 for Highland Park, and was that Brock that picked it up. It was Bennett Brock with the fumble recovery, his first of the season. And Highland Park could pick up a couple first downs.
Miles, you just feel like this is a team of destiny right here, man. I tell you, 12-2. First time Coach Allen's had a two-loss season in the regular season. I mean, I'm telling you, this is just a team of destiny.
Jones hands it to Alexander. Paxton gonna have a short gain.
This game is obviously far from over. The Scots have got to find a way to just kind of milk this clock. You got to believe that Coach Hennigan will utilize those timeouts here before long, but I think he's relying heavily on his D here right now. This is where the offensive line's got to step up.
The kicking game has looked very solid for Highland Park today with Jackson Hubbard. They're on the fringe of his range right now.
Coach Allen's going to try to run this as far down as he can to 0 on the play clock before they snap it.
5 minutes left in the game. Two-back set once again. Jack Fain is in there, the converted quarterback. And they hand it to Alexander once again, spinning off a tackler, diving forward to the 25. More gritty running from what we thought was a scat back.
Well, Paxton Alexander is hitting the backfield, as you notice right here. I mean, that's Ernest Brown who got a paw on him, and he's just not able to bring him down right there. You see him, and then he goes out there and he picks up 5 yards.
Not sure the Scots got a very good spot there, as it's 3rd down and 6.
But they, again, Miles, I think you're in be close to field goal range for Hubbard right here.
3rd and 6 for Highland Park. Jones hands it to Alexander up the middle. Paxton Alexander is going to get to about the 21-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 1.
Ooh.
Coach, you've been having a really good push with your offensive line here lately. Do you go ahead and put it back in the gut
I think
of
he's
35, or do you kick it?
He's going to go with the power package here. He's going to bring in the big fellas. And, again, Denton Ryan has been really good at getting push up front on special teams all day. So I think he's probably thinking about, don't want to take the opportunity to have this thing blocked. I think he's going to run it all the way down as far as he can and call the timeout.
It's amazing, Coach. Shouldn't surprise us, but the calm demeanor of Randy Allen, he just continues to stay even keel over there on that sideline. Every time we get a look at him up there on the big board, it just seems like Sunday morning.
He's been there. He's done that, brother. This is
Highland Park's 2nd charge timeout of the half.
As they say, this is not his first rodeo. He's done this a long time. He's a seasoned veteran coach and, a Hall of Famer. And he knows that this thing is not over with yet. He's got to make the perfect play call right here and rely on these big fellas up front to come off the ball and pick up a big first down.
Another TV timeout here. So we'll have an extended delay before our next snap. Coach, we have an update on Temple and Richmond, who would be the opponent for whoever wins this game. They are playing right now. And, of course, Manville went down last week. People thought Manville was better than any 6A team in the state, and they were the definitive 5A favorites here in the bracket. And so on the other side of the bracket now, a weaker field. Now, Temple and Richmond could still have a lot to say about it, but the winner of this game on paper should be the favorite next week. And it's Foster 17, Temple 10, late in the 3rd quarter. That's the latest update that we have on that game.
Coach, do you just put it in the belly of 35 here? Is there potentially another wrinkle where they might throw it out of this set?
Oh, Miles, I'll tell you, I'm struggling with this one. I'll tell you, obviously the strength of that Denton Ryan team and defense is that front four and the linebacking core. But the Highland Park offensive line has, in my opinion, I don't know if the word dominate would be there, but I'll tell you, they've been really, really good all day long. Coach Allen, who has called just a gorgeous game here this afternoon. This is going to be a tough one here. I think they're going to hand the football off to Paxton Alexander and want him to go make a play and tell those guys up front to come off the football. You've got the lead right now and try to pick up 2 yards in the first down.
You've got Jack Fain in the game as well as J.T. Dooley. Other than that, it's the offensive line, Turner Cox, Matt Gam, John Stephen Jones, and Paxton Alexander here on 4th and 1. As Beverly snaps it back. They give it to Alexander. He's got the first down.
There you go. There you go. Give it to your horse that's carried you all day long. And my goodness, what a job by the big fellas up front. They came off the ball. I mean, right there, Denton Ryan brought the house. They brought the house. They sold out on the run. And what a great job by Jack Fain. Look at that.
Look at the push by Fain.
What a block by 6. And he pats him on the helmet there at the end of that thing. What a job by Jack Fain.
You compare Fain to Kyle Burnett last year, a guy that was a terrific athlete at quarterback. They just found a way to have a role
what a first
at
down.
The end of the season.
What a first down. You get the feeling, team of destiny right here.
We're under 3 minutes to play. For a chance to go to the state championship, they're going to stay with the jumbo set
and a fresh
as
set
they give
downs.
it to Alexander. And that will be a loss.
We're going to have a timeout called, first one by Coach Hennigan.
So at the very least here, the Scots take care of the football. They're going to have a chance to line up for a field goal.
And that's the key.
In the second half.
That is absolutely the key. If you're Paxton Alexander, is to hold that football high and tight. You can see he is wrapping it up with 2 hands. Right now, the clock is your best friend.
Paige has an update from the field level.
Miles and Eric, I can hear y'all's voices getting more excited as this game comes to a close. I wish you could be down here with me. This team is electric. The fans are going crazy. The cheerleaders are cheering louder than I've ever heard them. This whole team is just ready to see this game end and walk away with the W. They can taste the championship.
Thanks, Paige. And Coach, I'm with you. This just has a vibe right now. They just have a team of destiny kind of vibe. I mean, when you lost Kate Sawstad, Scully Genevine, and Jack Kosmetsky, there were a lot of people around the program that felt like, hey, well, they had a great run, but there's now a ceiling on what they can accomplish this season. And Highland Park has shown that ceiling might be a state championship.
Yeah, they just could continue to defy the odds.
2nd down and 11, 2:46 remaining. Highland Park's got it at the 18-yard line. Jones hands it to Alexander. And he will be stopped there by number 9, Kalen Murray. Had the big sack to start the game.
Now
so another timeout called here by Hennigan.
You are most definitely in field goal range.
Their second timeout of the half.
Obviously you're in Hubbard field goal range. And we talked in the pregame about how huge special teams is going to play in this game. And it has been a huge factor in this football game. But it's going to give Highland Park the opportunity, potentially, if they don't pick up this first down. And I got to believe Coach Allen is going to run the football in order to try to get as much time off the clock as possible, or make sure that Coach Hennigan, utilizes that last timeout and put him out of timeouts. And then if you're able to execute in the special teams game and get the field goal made, I'll tell you, that it would be very, very difficult at that point in time for Denton Ryan to come back and win.
Denton Ryan has had 1 possession on offense where they moved the ball for a touchdown. 1. They had a fumble return for a score. They blocked a punt at Highland Park's 10-yard line.
I mean, it's just been a tremendous job today by this Scott defense, and they got to feel good even with a 7-point lead,
but they'd feel even better with a 10-point lead. They stay with the jumbo set. Jones hands it to Alexander, left side. Paxton's going to go down at about the 16-yard line. So Dave Hennigan, the former Highland Park assistant, takes the timeout with 2:37 remaining. Highland Park is going to trot out.
That is the third and final timeout of the second half.
The kicking unit. You'd imagine so.
Yeah, absolutely. I would imagine you're going to see a field goal right here. Again, you're going to have to hold up front. Just execute. You've done it 1,000 times. Good snap, good hold, and give Hubbard an opportunity to bang that thing through. And again, make this a 2-possession game, which is the key right here.
Coach, as good as Mateo Corgere has been, you really feel good with Jackson Hubbard, one of your senior leaders, a guy for this class that has been an athletic stud since these guys were in elementary school, whether it was soccer or basketball or football. Jackson Hubbard is a tremendous overall athlete.
And I'm anxious to see it. It doesn't look like I see Hubbard kind of on the backside of the huddle.
I think that's the kick team.
I think it's got to be.
Got 96 out there.
Yeah.
That's the kick team.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
The snapper
All
is
right,
Giff
Jackson.
Giffen.
Well,
the holder is Jack Toohey. It's equally as important, the men that are protecting on the outside. Denton Ryan is good at blocking field goals.
They are. That's where you got to hold up front. Get a good snap, good hold. Just execute right here.
It is a 35-yard attempt for Jackson Hubbard. And the kick is no good.
I thought he got roughed. I really did. I thought he got roughed. I thought they ran into him. They're not going to give it to him. That's unfortunate because I thought they ran into him, and there was a lot of pressure coming in from the right side there.
He missed it right. Wonder how much the pressure affected that. Jackson's been so money all day today.
All right, defense, you got to go get it right here.
The defense on the field here with 2:33 remaining. Ryan trails by 7. And it's once again Jordan Rucker in the game at quarterback. Scott defense has a chance to seal it. Rucker throwing deep. It's going to be dropped by James Herring.
Look at Coach Allen. He's on the ground over there. He knew that was it. If you make that play, it's over.
Herring had a chance to squeeze it and just couldn't do so.
You got to get right back in there. You got to flush it. You got to get right back in.
Just like after the kick, just like after the drop
That's
kick.
Right. That's
you have
right.
2 chances to seal it. It's still ball game. Marshall Ballard's in the game now at outside backer. 2nd and 10 for Rucker. Looking to throw deep. Good pressure there from the Scots. That pass is complete. What a catch by Douglas at the 35.
Just an incredible catch right there. I mean, we had pressure coming off the edge from Ballard, and give credit right there. Obviously, number 11, Jordan Rucker, does a good job of stepping up, and then that's just a stud coming up and making a play.
Stewart was so draped all over him, it nearly took the glove off of Douglas. Scott show pressure up the gut. They bring it. Rucker wants to throw deep. That's going to be incomplete, and a flag comes out. It's going to be interference on Highland Park.
You know, Miles, this is becoming eerily similar to that game last week when the Scots are up 7 with their defense on the field. The opposing team is driving. Just
holding eligible receiver by number 25 on the defense. 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
That's good news for Highland Park. It's a 10-yarder rather than a 15.
Just got to step up. We got to step up and make a play right here.
Ball at the 46-yard line for Ryan. Plenty of time here with 2 minutes. As Rucker surveys the field.
Oh, that's a hold.
Looking to throw left side. That's incomplete, way over the head of Gabriel Douglas.
John House is just getting absolutely mauled. I mean, as a matter of fact, it probably could have been a face mask. I don't know if we're going to get a good look of it. And we don't. But, I mean, John House, they came with a little wrinkle up front, brought pressure.
And he threw that one right to Dave Hennigan. Scots are going to bring in a sub-package here. Grayson Serio is into the game. Connor Stone is into the game, a pass rushing specialist. 4 down linemen here for Highland Park. Scots stunt defensively. He steps up, Rucker across midfield. He's going to get out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Still well short of the first. And he'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Well, he's shifty.
So Scots put their regular defensive personnel back out there on 3rd and 3. 1:53 left. Rucker throwing. Left side, that's caught. That's short of the sticks as well. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Here we go. This is it right here. Play of the game.
4th and 1.
All the pressure in the world, I think, is sitting on the shoulders of Denton Ryan. They've got to make a play to continue this football game. They have no timeouts remaining.
Jordan Rucker, the junior, in at quarterback. 4th and 1. They're going to try and run it. Left side, he's got a 1st down. Highland Park stacks him up there at the 40, but move the chains for Denton Ryan. This thing is still a ball game, and Rucker is now down.
That may be the best thing for them, is that stops the clock. And I don't believe at the high school level if you can get any sort of a runoff with an injury with no timeouts. But that could be another big loss.
So we've also seen number 17, Creed Gentry, play some quarterback.
He's over there getting loose right now.
The depth chart they gave us had number 12, Josh Branch. Apparently he was at least number 4 on the depth chart. And from talking to the broadcasters for Denton Ryan, Creed Gentry, not a threat to run. No rushing attempts on the season for Creed Gentry, which has been one of the best things Jordan Rucker has been able to do.
It appears as if this could be a fairly significant injury here to Rucker. He's been down for quite some time. And again, yeah, it looks like it's going to be Creed Gentry that's going to enter the game. He's only come in for a few plays, and really he tried to throw one pass and was not effective, and then he just came in to run kind of an I formation basic handoff.
Scots have had a couple different opportunities to seal this one, but it is still a ball game here with 1:19 remaining. A couple subs coming in for the Scots. Going to take Bennett Brock off the field. Grayson Serio is now back in. This is their dime package here. Connor Stone is in at defensive end. So they've got Blanton, Cox, and Gam, as well as Stone on the defensive line. 4 DBs in the game. Gentry looking to throw over the middle. It's going to be intercepted by Zach Foltz. Highland Park's going to the state championship game.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You could not ask for a better ending right there than that secondary to step up and make a play. Unbelievable job right there by Highland Park, and they are going to play miles for the state championship. Boy, if that doesn't just bring a smile and goosebumps to you, nothing will. Unbelievable job by this defense.
I'm at a loss. Coach, you said it. This might just be a team of destiny.
What a play by Zach Foltz.
I.e. John Callahan during the last Scott state championship run made a play similar to that at Apogee Stadium of UNT.
Intercepting Jevin Sneed in that game. As John Stephen Jones is going to come out here in the victory formation as the Scots need to execute 2 more snaps. Jones steps up, takes a knee. They'll need to run one more play. Coach,
unbelievable, man.
800 wins for Highland Park football.
Today is 800, brother.
That's right.
And we know that one for sure.
What a special win it is. Man, just an incredible job. Can't say enough about these young men. What an effort here today.
As Jones takes the knee, that will do it. Highland Park is going to the state championship game.
Miles, brother, I'm speechless. I mean, John Stephen Jones may be in tears, and I don't blame him. Just a incredible effort performance here by Highland Park.
And that
I mean, they took every punch they could take by this Denton Ryan team, and they continued to answer and answer and answer. And I cannot say enough about Coach Randy Allen and his leadership and his play calling here today. What a job. What a job.
Let's remind everyone that when the Dallas Morning News predictions came out, 8 out of 8 pickers had the Denton Ryan Raiders.
Highland Park advances to the state championship.
These Scotties aren't underdogs very much, but they embraced that role this week. They felt good about their game plan, and they came in here and got a win.
Miles, Darren Eason told me it's a phenomenal group of young men who dedicated themselves after that last play against Waco Midway last year. He said these guys have got after it from that day moving forward, and it's a collective group of guys who just they execute their role. They're coachable. They're just great young men. They've got great team chemistry, and these are the type of things that happen when you put all those things together. And when you have a defense like they have, you know, the sky's the limit. And Miles, they're going to play for a state championship.
Highland Park has 3 in their history. They're looking to make it 4 next week against the winner of Temple and Richmond Foster. And look at the pure ecstasy on the Scots sideline.
And for good reason. They got one more to go for a state championship. Certainly don't want to be done with it, you know, after this, but boy, they have all the reason in the world to celebrate this big-time victory over a team that was undefeated, and everyone anticipated them to win the state championship.
As we came in, we told you Denton Ryan was a heavy favorite in this game, a heavy favorite to win it all after Manville went out.
Brother,
they won 27 of their last 28 games. Their only loss to mighty Allen.
You cannot underestimate the heart of a Lion and the heart of a Scot, brother. I'm telling you, that's what these Scots have, is they just have heart. They have determination. They've got will. They've got fight, and they put it all together, man. I'll tell you, I cannot say enough great things about this team, and I'm so happy for them and this coaching staff.
So we have Paige Schnorbach, who is down with the winning coach, Randy Allen.
Congratulations on the win. You just beat an undefeated team. How do you feel?
Well, a little numb, but really proud of our players. They played really hard, and we went right down the wire to win it. So that was a good thing.
What was the key for the team to get this W?
You know, we just fought hard and made plays when we had to. We put ourselves in bad situations field position-wise in the first half with our kicking game, and our guys overcame it.
Each stage keeps getting better. How do you keep your boys settled down for next week?
Oh, I don't think they'll have any problem getting ready for state.
All right, thank you so much, Coach. Back to y'all upstairs.
Great job, Paige. As Highland Park wins this one, 31-24 is your final. As you get a look at Michael Clark, one of the team leaders,
and they're
leading the Scots in prayer.
Say a quick prayer, and I'll tell you, I just looked down there and see a couple of young men that were saying we're going to state. But let me tell you something, Miles. That right there is a show of class on behalf of Denton Ryan. They're taking a knee, and they're going to turn, and they're going to watch as the Highland Park Scots have their school song played. I'll tell you, that's a show of class. Coach Dave Hennigan, it's a tough loss, but what a show of class by those young men.
Coach, take us through some of the final statistics here for Highland Park, as Highland Park really played a great game offensively, defensively, had a couple hiccups in the special teams game, but ultimately were able to overcome just a ton of adversity in this one.
Yeah, Miles, you know, you touched on it. There was a lot of adversity to overcome. There were some hiccups in the special teams play. Again, they had the big, you know, the fumble and the return for a score, and everything seemed to kind of go against Highland Park early on in this game. And you look up at halftime, and they're still tied with Denton Ryan. I think Denton Ryan had to be pleased to be tied with them, considering they got completely outclassed, in, you know, really defensively and offensively in the first half.
And just look at the total yards. They're 378 to 174. Highland Park truly did dominate this football game.
Yeah, again, the yardage speaks for itself. You know, Highland Park picks up 20 first downs, only 11 by Denton Ryan, and Highland Park only gives up 174 total yards to a team that is just completely powerful offensively. Now, certainly you hate to see a guy like Spencer Sanders go down. hope the best for him. But I'll tell you, Highland Park still had to rise to the occasion and defeat a very, very athletic team. And they had to move the football against a very stingy defense in Denton Ryan.
What a great game by Paxton Alexander. He was the bell cow for Highland Park. 31 carries for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns receiving as well. He ends up getting in the end zone 4 total times. 6 catches for 68 yards. JT Dooley, another hero for the Scots, 5 catches, 68 yards. John Stephen Jones goes 15 for 25 for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns, 60% just where he was all season. As like we said, Highland Park outgained Denton Ryan 20 first downs to 11, 378 yards to 174. This was not a fluke where the Scots got a couple good breaks and ended up stealing one from Denton Ryan. They were just a better team today.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. They really did just outplay Denton Ryan across the board. They had a couple of unfortunate breaks unfortunate things take place with a couple turnovers, but Miles, ultimately they did. They were the superior team. They just outclassed Denton Ryan here today. They played, in my opinion, just very inspired football. Paxton Alexander is by far, in my opinion, the player of the game. What a performance by that young man. And then we cannot understate the importance of having a guy like Randy Allen leading your program and making the play calls. I mean, what an incredible job by him here today. I think it was just a beautifully coached and performed game by the Highland Park Scots. What a great win, and what an opportunity to play for a state championship next week.
We're going to the state championship game next week. We'll have it right here, presented by Game On Sports once again, as Highland Park gets win number 800 in program history. And they will take on the winner of Temple and Richmond Foster. Coach, your thoughts on either one of those teams from the other side of the bracket?
I'll be brutally honest. I don't know much about either one of them, Miles. I don't know much about either one of them, but I can tell you this much. These guys will be ready to play. It's like Coach Allen said, they don't need a lot of motivation. They're ready, and they're fired up, and this is what they expected to do. Although 8 pickers did not choose Highland Park to win this game, Miles, these kids believed, this coaching staff believed. I talked to numerous coaches this week, and they all said, we feel like we're going to win this game. And the kids believed it, and they performed that way here this afternoon.
So Highland Park gets the win, the final 31-24 here from AT&T Stadium, as the Scots get win number 800 in program history and advance to the state championship game for the 3rd time in the last 11 years. So for a whole cast of characters that made it happen, for Paige Schnorbach doing a great job down there on the sideline, for Coach Eric Cunningham, for our fearless producer, Fred Garner, I'm Miles Dunklin. So long from AT&T Stadium.